Yeah, I like that. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry for being late. My bad. Hello. Hi, guys. How are we doing on this Easter Sunday? It's Easter Sunday. He is risen. How is everybody doing on this lovely weekend? We love extra days of freedom. We love days off. I hope you guys have had a good weekend so far. I'm assuming everybody has Monday off. Most people have Monday off. I think that's how it works. Doing okay? How about me? I'm doing good as well. Spent a lot of the weekend with my family. I just kind of like happened to hang out with my family a bunch. Gonna be working your birds more soon. Oh, more wings, more feathers to be drawn. Oh, Blue Jay doesn't have a day off? Oh well. Most of us do. I'm really hot in my jacket. I need to take my jacket off. It's so warm here at the moment, man. It was snowing like on Wednesday, and now it's really warm. For your principal to give you... Yeah, exactly. We must all be holy here. That is the reason why we need a day off, because we need to go and be holy, of course. That's how it works. Guys, I'm excited. It was snowing earlier. It's like I didn't need a jacket today. I could have walked about in a t-shirt, but I had a jacket with me because that was the only pockets I have, because I had no pockets in my trousers. And that was it. So I had to use my pockets in my jacket, and I felt very warm. Insane weather. There's a saying in German. There's a saying in German that goes like this: April, da macht das Wetter, was es will. Which translates to April, that's where the weather does what it wants. So, yeah, that is literally what happens in April. We often get a lot bit of snow in April as well. 60 something Fahrenheit to sunny straight downpour to day snowing in 3 days. Cool. I have no idea what 60 degrees Fahrenheit means, but yeah. Oh man. That's what it is sometimes. I am a little late today. Medium warm? Okay. Fair. That's kind of what it was today. Medium warm. Like, not necessarily hot, but we could sit outside in the sun and it was nice. Yeah. So, I have multiple reasons why I'm late. First, I had food with my family because we spent Easter Sunday together. Second, I had to find pictures of Zoragg, and I've fallen down the rabbit hole of looking at old pictures of Zoragg. Dude, we had a roast dinner. We had a lamb roast because we always have lamb on Easter Sunday. And I made an apple pie, and I completely BS'd it in the sense of that was complete like improvisation. I just sauteed. Can you say sauteing apples? I just kind of like heated up some apples, added cinnamon and maple syrup, and then put it in like a pie form. And it was really good. It was a bit dry, but it was really good. So I completely like improvised a pie and everybody liked it. And I just had my second piece for dinner. So that was nice. In French, you say Avril ne te coupe pas d'enfimai. Fais ce qu'il te plaît. In April, don't take away layers. In May, do as you please. Huh. That's fair. I have just gotten out my... What's it called? My summer clothing. April showers bring May flowers. That's also cool. I like that. Drop, 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 little April showers. Do, 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 do. So, I got waylaid by food with family, and I also got waylaid by looking at like old art of Zoragg. And now I have lost that old art, which I'm annoyed with myself. Hold on. Oh, there we go. OC Designs. Man, really old OC Designs. So that's a picture I can open up because I want to show you guys. The character that we're doing today. Hi, Lady K. Hello, hello. Drip, drop, little April showers. Do, diddly, diddly, do, do. And then we have OC Designs of Summer 2021. Because I want to show you guys all these drawings because I don't think we're going to do a massive redesign of Zoragg today, because I already really like her design. But who knows? Maybe we'll go down a rant. Like, I'm feeling chaotic today, and this will totally won't bite me in the back if we're feeling chaotic. Well, hello there, Fernandos. New channel, who this? Thanks for the resub for 43 months. Oh my gosh. That's coming on to, in like 5 months, that'll be 4 years. Chaotic equals distracted, Katie. I mean, yes. But also, how dare you? I'm literally, as we're speaking, going through my folders to see if there's any other, like, Zoragg art that I can show you guys. Because, girl, I ain't drawn her in so long. And I like to draw her a lot when I'm going through something. Which, I don't know what that is supposed to tell. But yeah, that's apparently what I do. I guess we have the expression challenge. But yeah, let's just get into it. I think I've got like some stuff to show you guys. Any concept art? No, we don't care about that concept art. Oh my gosh, that concept art is so old. Distracted Katie. Tis always the case. That is a lot of years. Blue, how dare you? Blue, how dare? I mean, yes, you speak the truth, but how dare? I kind of want to get through this. Well, get through this. I want to have this redesign, like, finished quickly. Because what if we draw some moments from Twin Life? I have idea to draw moments from Twin Life. And I have thoughts. Did you guys enjoy Twin Life? Has anybody seen like multiple perspectives yet? Because I have a little bit of something potentially to show you guys that Cucumber and I have been cooking up. Might be a slight skin change to work for our duo. Multi's finding his twin great. I know. I've heard. But yes, gasp. Yes. We have thoughts. We've been bouncing ideas off of each other. But in case you didn't know, like, I am most likely, very much, definitely going to be putting spoilers to Twin Life in stream. I'm just going to probably release spoilers. Like, you've already heard some spoilers, so I apologize. But, like, if you don't want to hear spoilers to Twin Life, then like go watch Twin Life. In fact, Gushback in general have already uploaded their episodes, so that would be like a half an hour's watch, I think, for both of them. So, you know, put that on double speed and you'll be back here in 15 minutes, you know? If you want to go see, if you want to go and have a look at some Twin Life stuff and you keep up to date on what's happening. General's point of view, I mean, I haven't watched it, but I think General's point of view could be very good. Beamy has also uploaded a video, and yes, we're a mix of Mean Girls and Boat Boys, but nicer. We are the nicest. We're a mix of Mean Girls, Boat Boys, and the Ranchers. Dudes, I am so fuddled because I currently have... Oh, I get it now. Oh, that makes so much sense. I have like buttons on my trousers that I didn't button all the way up. And I buttoned them the wrong way around, and now it's irritating me because I can't get the button through the button. And it's kind of... They're tight trousers and they're annoying me. So I need to button it properly. And your Guardian headcanon works! Dude, if I'm Guardian, what is a Cucumber in your headcanon? What is Cucumber? Is Cucumber like... I don't know what other ocean... Axolotl? I don't know. What other ocean mobs are there? But yeah. So, who knows? You're working on a recap for session 1, however you don't think you can post it during Twin Life streams because you're in school during those hours, so you probably post the recap on my VODs like last time. Sounds good, my dude. I totally, yeah, I remembered someone did it. I forgot it was you, Molly, but yeah, that's cool. Cucumbers and axolotl would be adorable. Yeah. But like, I could imagine Cucumber as like, I don't know, a green axolotl to kind of keep the cucumber theme, I guess. I don't know. Like green axolotl bits. Who knows? But But yeah, there is twin life in my brain as well. And honestly, I was debating changing this stream to a doodle stream. Happy to do this again. It's awesome, Molly. I love it. The recap also helps me to kind of be like, okay, what's been happening? And a lot happened in twin life. Again, go watch General's POV if you want an edited down version. But yeah, so I didn't want to deprive you guys of some original character talk. So, you know, I don't have to, like, the only thing stopping me tonight is my energy. So we'll see how my energy does, but I don't have to go to uni tomorrow. I don't have Simon who has to go to bed early and I need to be conscious of what she's doing. I just have to, I just have my neighbours who I need to be conscious of, but like, who cares about my neighbours, right? So we'll see how far, like, how much energy I have to keep going. I had a proper meal today as well, so I'm all fired up. I have a bottle of water next to me, so we'll see how much drawing we get done today. Me in general need 5.5 miracles to win is all you're saying. Yeah. We might have a new thing called the winner's curse. You know, you have the canary curse. We can't do the canary curse because Fire Queen isn't taking part this season. So we might have a thing called the winner's curse. And I have some art that I want to do about that, if that is the case. True, Scar did manage to last forever on Red Life. Oh wait, yeah, spoilers. I just realised. I just realised I'm showing my iPad to you guys. My gosh. Okay. So, I've got the leaf brush out. I wonder what I might have been working on. That might have been the leaf brush. Ghost. Draw the song. I've been doing stuff. I'm really happy with. I'm like really excited for my drawing this week. Of the Draw the Song challenge. So. Anyway, this is our character Zoragg. I'm assuming you saw the stream name, but you write her name like this. Boop. And Zoragg has been through a substantial character design change, I would like to kind of guess. Because Zoragg used to be a guy. Like, I can't find my oldest drawings of Zoragg, which is annoying me. But like this used to be Zoragg. This used to be Zoragg, a brooding guy. I mean, now she's a brooding gal. We still kept the brooding. But yeah, I mean, I guess you probably saw drawings of Zoragg in the sketchbook tour. Depending on which sketchbooks I showed you. I certainly have like a sketchbook that, you know, the sketchbook that we worked on a couple of weeks ago, that we did a drawing for, like the ship drawing, that has a couple of drawings of Zoragg in there. I definitely was going through a Zoragg phase when I was in that thing, but like, this is what Zoragg looked like at the start. You guys also saw Zoragg's first design, actually, first ever. And I've discovered things about Zoragg as well that I want to tell you guys. But this used to be what she looked like, and honestly, the design hasn't changed that much apart from the fact that she's gender bent. Girl looks like very, very similar. And let me see. And this was like her most recent character sheet. Boop, as we have here. Ba-da-ba-da. So, honestly, no idea what these traits are supposed to be. Like strength, charisma, ignorant versus perceptive, introvert, extrovert, goofy, serious. I have no idea what. We obviously never finished these because we don't have the portrait or a color palette or like items that she always carries. We have thoughts on items that she carries along with her. But yeah, this is like the most recent design. She be strong woman with long hair. Funnily enough, Zoragg has like big time. I don't actually do. Does she have these vibes? She. So what's a high round? Is she like a werewolf? So she's also, so even though her design, like, okay, we've gender bent her design hasn't gone through a lot of changes, but her species, her race has gone through so many changes. So funnily enough, Zoragg started out as and this is very telling to the series that my friends really liked when we were starting up, when we were starting out making these characters. She used to be a hellhound. So the very first thing, or I guess back then she was a he, the very first thing that Zoragg was a hellhound. She really pulls the I am a woman card, yeah. I mean, same with Rain, they basically swapped genders. And now they feel a little bit gender fluid, I'm not gonna lie. So she used to be a hellhound. That was like her first thing of like, she's definitely not human, even though she looks it. She ain't human. And so she started out being a hellhound. You want to know what the hellhound's from? I found this out a couple weeks ago. Has anybody heard of a hellhound in like fantasy? Because I only know it from one place, other than our story, which actually doesn't really exist in our story anymore. Actually, I knew it from a Minecraft mod pack. Blue, do you know another series or like media that has hellhounds? Because I only know a single one. And I've been talking about this a little bit recently. Hell of a Boss? Oh no, it isn't. Is it in, do they exist in Hell of a Boss? Because I didn't know that. So no, hellhounds are a thing in Teen Wolf. Because when we were creating these characters, both Zimon and Alina were massive Teen Wolf fans. And I keep finding out more about how our story... Oh, there's hellhounds and Percy Jackson. Okay, maybe ignore me then. I only like consciously took notice of hellhounds in... Are you talking Cerberus hellhound? I guess that makes sense. But yes, one of the main characters is a hellhound called, and her name is Luna. Oh. Honestly, like, Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss have been on my to-watch list forever. I really want to watch them. Watch those series. Anyway, so yes. I've been finding out bit by bit over the last couple months that as Zimon and I'm watching Teen Wolf for the first time in my mid-20s. It's a whole trip, but I'm enjoying it. If you just are, like, I recommend people watch it if you are open for the cheesiness, because it knows it's cheesy, but it's also so flipping good. It's good flipping television if you look over the cheesiness, especially it gets less cheesy as time goes on. Because the first 2 seasons are incredibly cheesy in the werewolfiness. But yeah, Teen Wolf has hellhounds. So that's what inspired Zoragg's very first form, we could say. You'll add it to your watch list. I'm guessing it's very long. We're at the end of season 5 now. And I will just say one thing. Growing up is finding Parrish attractive versus the other guys. I think that's what growing up is. I think I'm in the age group where I should find a different demographic of people in that series attractive. Yeah, there's 6 seasons. What my recommendation is for people watching Teen Wolf is watch the first 3 seasons, because those are the best seasons. But the first 3 seasons are the best seasons. Season 1, 2, and 3. And then if you still enjoy it, continue watching. And if you think like, no, you know what? I'm happy, I'm done, I've seen it, then I don't need to continue watching, then you don't. Because the following seasons, like season 4, 5, and 6, are still good. Well, I can't speak for season 6, but we're in season 5 right now. 4 and 5 are still good, but not like as good as season 1, 2, and 3. That's my recommendation for Teen Wolf. And like, I know many people think it's incredibly cringy. And it kind of is, but that's the charm of it, okay? Just get past the cringe. But no, yeah, there's a hellhound in Teen Wolf. There's also a character in Teen Wolf called Derek, which is where our character's name Derek comes from. There's a character in Teen Wolf called Kira, which is where Kira comes from. There's this thing called Dementia Mori, I think that's what it's called, which is basically a way of like getting rid of the name of someone, getting rid of all memories of them. And names in our story are incredibly important, and remember the names of the dead is very important. Also came from Teen Wolf. Also, the first interaction that Simon and Alina had with that idea, and then they posted that idea, they gave that idea like, they presented it to me, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, let's do that for the story. Also from Teen Wolf! And we also, I mean, this is kind of like a little bit more obvious, but we do have a werewolf character. We have a werewolf character in our story. And werewolves exist in our world. So, you know, flipping. I keep finding out more and more about how much Teen Wolf inspired our story, and I'm finding it very amusing. It's very formative for Simon and Alina, apparently, and I'm just sat here going, wait a minute, all the things I'm uncovering. So, Zoragg used to be a hellhound, right? And because you've kind of got like this, because hell doesn't exist in our world, right? Hell doesn't exist in our world as a concept. You have the underworld, you have like a shadow realm, which is where the worst people go to, or the people that are forgotten and have their names erased. That's where people, they kind of go to the shadow realm, and they kind of lose themselves, they forget themselves, and they become shadow beings. But most people just go to the afterworld. Hi, Zim! Most people just go to the afterworld, to the afterlife, and like, I mean, we haven't necessarily talked about there being different tiers of afterlife, for like, these people were good people, so they go to like pretty places, and these people were bad people, so they go to bad places. So due to the fact that there's no hell in our world, really, just a shadow realm, and Zoragg doesn't come from the shadow realm, we was like, hellhound, doesn't really work. So we came up with the idea of a highhound. So that's what Zoragg was for a while, and that's what she was back in 2021, when this character sheet that I showed you guys just now, when this character sheet was made, this was made in 2021. That was who she was. She was a highhound. And highhounds are, gosh, I guess, I mean, they still exist in our story, so I tell you what I'll do is, they're just another flavour of what she currently is. Currently, Zoragg is a high spirit. Because she's no longer a hound. She no longer has the dog vibes. Zoragg is a high spirit. Or at least that's what we called her a while back. I don't know if that's what, like that type of being has changed. I can tell you a concept that we had for her race a long time ago, and I'm pretty sure that concept is no longer like the most recent idea, so I can tell you all about it because there's no spoilers. But I find it a really interesting concept, and I really like it. So, what Zoragg is, she's a high spirit, and she comes from the underworld. She is a guardian of the eternal flame in the underworld, in Halvor's space. Halvor is the ancient being of the afterlife, of the ancient being of the dead. And so Halvor he guards over this fire of eternal flames. And in this land, you have the dead, but you also have the people who, you know, were born in this land and were created in this land. And they, instead of spirits, they have flames that flicker in their hearts. And so there's this big fire that is like eternally burning in Halvor's domain, that basically is the gift of life. And beings like Zoragg are created out of this life by having a little flame that flickers inside of them that represents their spirit. And so kind of you obviously need people who kind of take care of the spirits that have passed on. You need people that take care of like this realm, because the spirits are supposed to be laid to peace. So you need people who work in this realm, and that's basically Zoragg and her people. And a while back, our concept for these people was that each of these like flames are like each of these flames are placed in to an animal that has died in a noble way, right? So say a wolf was killed by a bear protecting its pack, then this wolf kind of in the afterlife will be given a flame and become a humanoid body and become like a guardian of the underworld. And that's what Zoragg was. She was a panther. And again, this is all outdated. I don't know the most recent standing of it. Because girl, we ain't talked about Zoragg for a hot minute. But this was a headcanon I had for a while. And as far as I remember, we kind of came up with something else and I can't remember what that was. But yeah, Zoragg is, or was, in the old lore, a panther that did a great deed. And I can't tell you what that great deed is because that's a little bit of a spoiler. But just rest assured she did a good deed. And then she entered Halvor's domain and was given a part of the Eternal Flame. Scott's got a Bannerfall animatic. I must see. I haven't been able to keep up with Bannerfall. It makes me sad because I have no idea what's happening. It started and I just like, so did life for me. Well, life has always been going, but I got incredibly busy around the same time, so I have not been kept. I immediately couldn't keep up with Bannerfall, and now I think there's no hope for me. So yes. So yeah, Zoragg was a binge the VODs on 1.75 speed. Yeah, that's my problem with like if there's only VOD stuff, I don't have time to watch VODs, and I just have to kind of accept that fact. I can only watch videos really, and so which is why I often watch Martin in these kind of things, but he ain't doing videos to this, and it makes me sad. Anyway, so yeah, Zoragg is a high spirit. I think she still is a high spirit unless we have a different name for her people. But yeah, she is created out of a spark or a flicker of the Eternal Flame in Halvor's domain. And she kind of shares that well, does she share that? A kind of like side effect of the people who exist in Halvor's domain is that they can transform into an animal. They can shapeshift into an animal. And this isn't like werewolfy, this is just like true shapeshiftering. Like sometimes she looks like a human, and sometimes like the animal that is that Zoragg represents, I guess. But Bannerfall finale is tomorrow. Oh, Cherry's posting videos. Gosh, I don't really follow Cherry. Maybe that's something to do. Train of thought is gone. We say goodbye to the train of thought. Look, there it goes. It floats away. Zoragg is... Oh yeah, Zoragg can basically turn into a panther. Zoragg can turn into a panther. And that's something that I showed in like the animatic that I did. And I don't know... I don't think this is spoilery. Zimon doesn't like me talking about this story at all because she considers everything a spoiler. I'm not gonna lie. And so like... So that's kind of like the... I'm trying to open up the video. So I'm kind of like always in danger whenever I talk about our OCs, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. That's how it works. But yeah, looking through the animatic. It's muted. So yeah, you've kind of like, in this animatic, you've got like a scene of a panther running through a forest, and then you go to Zoragg. That panther is Zoragg. That panther, right there, is Zoragg. And I really like the kind of visual of like this flowing tail versus her flowing braid. Which is why I really like her design with like that she has a braid. 4 episodes? Oh, 4 episodes sounds really doable. That sounds really doable. So yeah, that's Zoragg's whole shtick. That's her whole thing. So she's a high spirit and yeah. And that's why she kind of like looks like a bit kind of like a werewolf, because you see like the sharp canines. And like, no, she ain't no werewolf, she's a panther. So should we get into figuring out what she looks like? Ooh. Let's figure out how we're going to draw Zoragg. I'm going to hide all references like I have done so far in all the other like OC redesigns, because I want to have a completely empty view on this character. And so Zoragg, like for all of her existence until the start of the story, and still the start of the story. Why are S's so hard? Maybe it's because I keep wanting to say Zoragg with a Z. She has existed in the afterlife, in the underworld, which is... can we call it underworld? Simon has done a drawing of all the different planes of existence. And every time she tries to explain it to me, I am confuddled. I think there's like 4 different planes of existence. And so you've got the Shadow Realm, the Realm of the Dead, the Realm of the Living, and then the ancient magic around. Zimmerack? Yeah, that's how it works. Okay. And so yeah, in her entirety of her existence, because the whole high spirit thing that I explained earlier no longer is canon. In her entirety of her existence, she's existed in the underworld, in Halvor's domain. And Halvor is the ancient being of the underworld, and like the ancient being, the guardian of the dead. And so let's figure out how we want to design Chinoa. Chinoa, not Chinoa. Zoragg. Oh my gosh. So this is a dilemma that I often have with Zoragg and Chinoa, is that their color palettes are really similar. So how do I keep them distinct? How do I keep them looking different from each other? And like my goal with that is kind of like making Chinoa look a lot more elegant, because she's like made to fly. Gosh, is that a lyric of something? Made to fly. For some reason I have the image of that maybe is a lyric or something. And kind of Zoragg is like conventionally not feminine. She's got very like angular proportions, but she is a lady. But like there's a scene in the story where they go to a ball, and Zoragg is not interested in any kind of ball gowns. Zoragg is out there wearing a suit. Oh, hello. My iPad keeps doing this and it irritates the heck out of me. I want to be full screen, okay? Let me be full screen. So. Now, Chinoa has very low cheekbones. And actually quite an oval face. I'm going to actually get in a picture of Chinoa on this drawing, just so that I can kind of like find a way to make these guys not look too similar. Yeah, because Chinoa has a really long face. I mean, one way we can certainly do it is her round eyes, Chinoa's round eyes. Zoragg has very angular eyes, always has. Pointy nose instead of rounded nose. Higher cheekbones, more of a jawline. I think we figure it out. We figure stuff out. But yeah, it might be like a bit of a failing of us that we made these two characters look so similar. Because also, these two are besties. These two are besties. These two are like Chinoa and Zoragg. So you know how you've got like in the Avengers, you've got the conversation of like, okay, who is the strongest Avenger? Is it Thor or is it the Hulk? See you in a bit, Blue Jay. Who is like the best? Who is the like the strongest Avenger, right? The conversation in this story is between Chinoa and Zoragg, for sure. That is kind of like one of these two is the strongest, but we don't know when. We don't know when. We don't know how. Who? Gosh, questions. We don't know who's the strongest. So like, yeah, that's Chinoa's gonna get quite the jawline. Chinoa. My gosh, I'm even confusing them speech-wise. But yeah, they're besties. They like to spar. It's like often a conversation of who's stronger. Often a question. Every now and again, they get to like legitimately also like have a proper fight in the sense of there are reasons and there are things that make them have proper fights. But like they're always on like very even ground whenever it comes to that kind of thing. So yeah, Zoragg, high cheekbones. And we also had a long conversation, especially when we gender bent Zoragg and Rain, when Zoragg became a girl. We were kind of having the conversation because like she definitely challenges like gender norms, but like not in the I'm a tough girl and no one can have anything to me. Not in like a Carol Danvers, not in like a Captain Marvel kind of way, right? Because girl loves flowers. They don't have flowers in the underworld, so when she sees flowers, she's enamored by them. And that was a character trait that Zoragg had even when she was a guy. So like we don't want to like actively challenge gender norms, but like it's just the way that the characters go. It's just the things that they do that make this happen. But yeah, so we had the conversation like, should we make Zoragg's hair short because she's a warrior of the mind. She's a warrior, a fantastic fighter. And it's like a question of, well, wouldn't hair like that get in the way? Why doesn't she have like a pixie cut or like short hair or anything, right? So that was a question that we had while we were kind of thinking about her redesign, trying to figure out what like her vibe should be, what she should look like, right? Also trying to figure out like the shape of her face. Oh my gosh. Why am I so bad at this? What direction is she looking? I don't really know right now. I've erased all of my helplines. And I erased them because I actually wanted to draw them on another layer. For goodness sake. Apparently I've forgotten what layers are. But no, we kind of like decided like, well, but we kind of like the idea of her having like a braid that kind of floats about whenever she's fighting. And it was another thing of like, well, Chinoa already has pretty short hair. And like the length of her hair is also a way to challenge her colony. So Zoragg isn't really a rebellious one. She's not really one to challenge like the norms of her upbringing. But we like the idea of having long hair, but then kind of like being able to, like being a master at kind of working around it in the sense, right? So, boop. But yeah, girl looks very very human, if you didn't know any better. And I'm just trying to kind of like figure out how I want her facial features to be. Bum bum. Because I still like the idea of having like this kind of panther-esque elegance. We have started drawing. There's many thoughts happening right now. I like the idea of having like this elegance of a panther. And like these sharp eyes, like she's hunting you always. And honestly, guys, I think my art is currently going through a bit of a... It feels like it's evolving recently. Like the way I'm kind of drawing noses, trying to figure out drawing noses. I feel like I'm making the eyes a bit more like realistically shaped. I feel like some things are happening. I feel like things are happening. I don't know if I'm happy with that eye shape. What eye shape have I used for her in the past? Well, that's not Zoragg we have nowadays. Maybe let's look at a reference picture from here. Oh yeah, let's look at one where we can't even see her face. Do you know you're in the way? There we go. Yeah. So they don't necessarily go upwards like they are here. They're not as arched upwards. They're more just kind of like going this way, like horizontally. But I can't, okay, I do like the arching upwards more than I like the horizontal. We love when art evolves. Yeah, it just feels like currently a time of things looking different. I mean, like, I really noticed this one. I need to be careful, actually, before to show you guys anything. Because there's some stuff that I don't want you to see just yet. Bop, 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 bop. Wait, hello? Oh, yeah, here we go. My iPad is struggling right now. It's not registering touch. There we go. When I drew Ali here, the way I kind of drew his nose was different to any kind of nose I'd ever drawn before. And, you know, the way I kind of added depth with his wrinkles, and also drawing a bald head was something I'd never done before. It was really tough to draw Ali for some reason, but it was also really good to draw him because I feel like I kind of worked through some tricky things with him. So yeah. So let's just figure out with Zoragg how different we can make a person with a very similar color palette, or two people with very similar color palettes look. This is actually really a bit of a like exercise. Like we need to make our girls, our powerful girls, look distinct. And now with how I'm doing these eyes in a way that I wouldn't usually do them, it confuddles me. Boop. Yeah, one eye's far too high up versus the other. Her jawline, for some reason, is actually also very short. That's probably better. So Zoragg is the kind of character to take zero BS. She is like put in a really high position in Halvor's area because she's one of the guards of the Eternal Flame. Like imagine the Eternal Fire is like, imagine the tree of life. Imagine if all life were dependent on one single tree living, existing, thriving, right? That's basically what's happening, and what's happening with these like high spirits in the underworld. They only exist because this fire is burning. They don't exist because like the burning of this fire, right? And if this fire were to stop burning, they would all die. And the fire is like a manifestation of Halvor's magic. Hi Cucumber, it's my soulmate. Not my soulmate, sorry, my twin. I keep mixing those two up. It's my twin in chat. Mango, it's not my twin, but another green life. Hi everybody. But so yeah, Zoragg has a really important... You guys joined it at the exact same time. So Zoragg has an incredibly important job because she's one of the like main guards of this fire, which is like almost like a holy job, I guess. A beautiful song. It's my twin, and it's another green life. Do you mean that's the song? I turned twin life into a song. Watch out, Evil Anvil, I'm coming for you. I'm not. This is a joke. I also don't think Evil Anvil would make a series, a song of twin life. Oh, I am confuddled myself. I am confuddled myself. Yes, that's English. I've confuddled myself so much with this new way of drawing. I don't understand it. Zoragg looks confuddled as well. At least I'm not the only one who's confuddled. My OCs are also confuddled. Because it looks like tilted for some reason. Why does it look so tilted? Maybe the ear is in the wrong place? Maybe the ear's too big. Yeah. But this is a struggle that sometimes art goes through. I feel like I am in a phase of struggle, and then we'll come out the other side and we'll be better for it. Is that not so this is Chinoa in the corner. This is Chinoa in the corner, and I'm drawing Zoragg here. And basically the reason I have Chinoa in the corner is because this is a pit. Oh, I closed the image. I closed the draw. Why did I close the drawing? This is what Zoragg looks like, or at least looked like back in 2021 designs. Boop. It's a very similar color palette to Chinoa. Very similar color palette to Chinoa. And kind of like, tan skin, dark hair. Both really buff and really good warriors. So the reason I have Chinoa next to Zoragg on this drawing is because I want to find ways to make Zoragg's features distinct from Chinoa. So that if you're kind of looking at them, like, you know exactly. You saw the wings and thought you were losing it? Nah, it's fine. No, we do got these two. The reason I've got Chinoa here is so that Zoragg can so we can figure out like a distinct design for Zoragg. Because I was kind of like, I admitted to everyone at the beginning of the stream that I don't actually have like an idea, or I'm really happy with Zoragg's design in like the broad strokes. I don't really have like a thought to like change her design drastically. So something that I want to do is kind of change her design in like subtle ways, in like facial features, in small ways to kind of make her feel more like the character that I imagine her to be, right? And like a step on that road is to make her look different enough from Chinoa that people don't mix them up. But Cucumber knew what's up. This was a test, I guess. No, not necessarily, but like you get the characters. And even like from the eyebrow shape, right? So we're going like really strong angled eyebrows for Zoragg here. Whereas Chinoa has like really round ones, kind of like tapering off at the end. So, you know, it's kind of like the little details like that we can make these characters look distinct. And even like from their facial expressions, right? So Zoragg's kind of got a bit of a cold stare here, which is very Zoragg. She's not really, she takes her job very seriously and like her role in the world. And like, cucumber test passed, yes. And so like when she's kind of, you know, because obviously at some point she comes to the overworld because she's one of the main characters of our story and our story takes place in the overworld. When she's torn away from that, kind of darker hair. I don't think does she have darker hair? Maybe she does. Like all these color palettes are like up for debate. I mean, Chinoa has dark brown hair. We have a lot of people with dark hair. I'm not gonna lie. Look at all these characters. So like Rain is the only one who has like light hair. We have Chinoa with dark brown hair. We have Rain with white hair. We have Aramir with kind of like an ashy brown hair. We have Kira with kind of like a reddish brown hair. do we have a favorite? My boy. And Mango go like, Kira, my girl. Rambling about other lore while drawing Chinoa, nah. And so, and Ali has no hair, so you know. It makes me so happy that different people have different favorites. No, you can totally play favorites. I play favorites. I won't tell you who I'm playing favorites for because that changes all the time. What, you mean me getting distracted while drawing someone? Absolutely not. Never seen that before. No, 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 no. So Zoragg kind of like she takes her role very seriously, and like when she's kind of ripped away from that role, because she doesn't come, little spoiler, she doesn't come to the overworld by choice. I don't know if I've talked about this before. Maybe we have. Maybe people with like an elephant's memory will know. But like, I'm kind of scared to talk about it because I feel like someone recently mentioned this when mentioning Zoragg. But like, maybe I'm confused. Ba-doop, ba-doop. Oh, actually, so this is another fun fact about Zoragg. And this was actually a legit... So the fun thing about writing a story with other people is that you can bounce like so many cool ideas off of each other. The less fun fact of when you come into disagreements about things. I mean, it's fun in a sense. Because like depending on people's takes, they are very amusing. But we had a discussion about this, and my biologist brain would just not let this go. So remember when I talked about Zoragg being a panther? She can turn into a panther. As I showed in this animatic here. So we have Zoragg and we have a panther. Same person. Both of the, like, yes. That's Zoragg. But guys, science! I know, right? Is there something about this panther that looks off to eagle-eyed biologists and zoologists? Is there something wrong with this panther? I'll give you a hint. I was just drawing Zoragg's eyes. Any eagle-eyed biologists out there? Maybe I could pull up a picture of a... pull up a quick picture of a panther. I was going to say, but it does have predator eyes here, so it seems fine. Does it now? Yeah, panthers are predators, don't you worry. Yeah, they're predators, but have you seen the eyes of a panther? Oh, this is such a pixelated image. I'm trying to find a good image here. Wait. Oh, is predator eyes on the side? Okay, no. Predator eyes on the front. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not... Oh, it's an AI image, for flip's sake. Can we just have a normal panther image, please? That's not AI. I just want a panther that's not AI. I just want to see its eyes. Hello? How hard? Oh, now we're going to Black Panther. Okay. Is that a picture that I can look at? Okay. You're curious as well now? So this is a panther's eyes, right? Yes, forward facing. But you know what's different from a panther's eyes to a cat's eyes? Or like generally the big cats versus house cats. Like tilted? Not tilted, I'm talking... They have round pupils! Mango got it! They have round pupils. And you might see here, this panther here has slitted pupils. Did not know that. My friends, I knew that. But I lost an argument. I had to concede because I was outruled 2-1. Never noticed that. So, Simon and Alina really want Zoragg to be a panther. Really want Zoragg to be a panther. But they also really want Zoragg to have these kind of slitted up pupils. And so... and they were ready to like compromise, going like, well, what if Zoragg only has the slitted pupils when she's in human form? And I'm like, that makes even less sense. If she's gonna have slitted pupils, she's gonna have slitted pupils in both forms. So, no science. But again, I guess we're in a fantasy realm. Maybe all the, like, high spirits have slitted pupils. That's maybe how you can tell them apart from others. I think it's a cool character design. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's a cool character design. And in that case, I do want continuity. And maybe it's a way to kind of, like, tell a high spirit from another being, you know? You see a panther in the wild, look at its eyes. Are they slitted? That's a Zoragg, or that's a high spirit. If it's not slitted, that's an actual panther. Run for your life. To be fair, I don't know. Depending, they might be in even more danger if that is actually Zoragg. If you've annoyed her, if you've annoyed Zoragg, heaven help you. I mean, run for your life regardless. Exactly. Heaven help you if you annoyed Zoragg. As Rain is very often known to do. But yeah. So, because I lost an argument, you don't even want to call it an argument, it was a discussion. And I was outruled, and that's how things work. We get slit-eyed Zoragg. And my brain was just kind of like going like, what if she were a snake? And the others were like, no. And I'm like, okay. And they were like, well, she can't just be a cat. Discussion, yeah, that's it. A loss for science, I'm afraid. A loss for science. You know the science that we're talking about a lot at the moment? We have a science side that we're talking about a lot, and we're talking about the science of the mer people. We're talking about how mer people communicate. Because we have like different dilemmas underwater. That's our current like, and it's not a fight. We're bouncing ideas off of each other really well right now. It's really fun at the moment. But like, we're kind of like trying to figure out the mer people society, because A, you don't have paper. Because paper would get really, really soggy. Well, you know what would be easy? You know what would be really easy? If we just made an underwater version of paper. But that's not necessarily... That's not the fun part. That's not the fun part. I'm going to go to Adamir if I'm talking about the underwater people. I'm just going to quickly hang out on Adamir here. So we've decided that they don't really have paper to write on. That if they're writing things down, it's chiseled into stone. But that has so many implications of them as a society. And we have a whole different mechanism that it's still in early talks. Carved stone tablets. Drawing seaweed into a knot language. Mango, F you! So a knot language is something that we have talked about, and it's something that we're toying with. But we also, because we're in a fantasy world, we're adding a bit of a fantasy element. Mango immediately guessed. Mango, think about it. I'm nautical themed. I love my nautical stuff. I'm going to try and get a knot language in there somewhere. No, so we were toying around with that idea. We don't know if we're going to go with it, but we have another idea that is like very fantasy and very sciencey. Like we have a fantasy thing that I don't think I've ever seen before. Simon had a fantastic idea, but it's also kind of sciencey. So even though they maybe carve stuff into stone tablets, and keep in mind, sprechen Sie Deutsch. Also, Mango, dann reden wir mal drüber. Ich habe mein Handy gerade nicht bei mir. Kann jemand einen Wecker für einen... Oh, niemand versteht mich. Doch, da ist mein Handy. Frage ich, ob jemand einen Wecker stellen kann. Vielleicht kann ich Mango etwas ganz, ganz Kleines sagen. Ich habe gerade einen Wecker gestellt, kein Stress. Mango, es hat... Und du darfst es nicht weiter sagen. Es hat mit Korallen zu tun. Ihre Informationsweiterleitung. Und es hat ein bisschen mit Fantasy und ein bisschen mit Wissenschaft zu tun. Weil es ist mega schwierig und aufwendig, in Stein zu meißeln. Man muss sich so vorstellen, dass man eben nicht mit, dass man nicht irgendwie ganze Bücher in Stein meißeln kann, oder? Das ist nicht möglich. Also, beziehungsweise es ist, ja, man muss nur so die wichtigsten Informationen in Stein meißeln, weil es ist einfach mega aufwendig. Aber so sie haben trotzdem Bibliotheken und sie haben eine andere Art von Wissensweiterleitung. Und es hat sehr viel mit Mündliches zu tun. There we go, there's the timer. So, yes, the Mer people have libraries, but it's really hard to carve all your information into stone. The poor and the non-German in chat. For the poor and the non-German. No, Mango promised to not give information further. I just gave Mango one like little tidbit of something. Yeah, exactly. So if they're carving information into stone, it is incredibly difficult to carve information into stone. I'm repeating most of what I said in that minute. Mango just got like one little word that I will not mention here. So rude. I can't give you guys everything. I've got to show some favoritism to my fellow country people. I guess. I'm sorry. Cucumber's my twin. I mustn't. I'm feeling bad. Oh. Maybe next twin life we talk about it. Wow, not even your twin. No, Cucumber. Please, I see how it is. No, don't make me feel bad. But your twin is not trusted. It's... Yeah. Just kidding around. Yeah, I know. We love kidding around. But yeah, basically, I'm going to repeat what I said in the German because we're doing law talk, so I feel bad when other people can't hear all, like, most of what I said in German. Some of it has to be, left for the Germans and the Swiss. If you can actually find your twin randomly in the mountains. Literally, that was kind of like, so someone kind of like on Twin Life Day. Yes, I am Swiss. Well, not officially, but I've lived here forever. I should really get around to getting that citizenship, man. I feel the most Swiss out of every country that exists. Switzerland is the country that I feel the most drawn to, right? Usually if people ask, I say I'm European because I feel like I'm from everywhere. But yeah. It is the country I live in. That's where I am from. So yeah, repeating what I said while I was speaking German. So the Mer people have got stone tablets that they carve into, but that is really difficult. That takes a lot of time. So you can't carve entire books into stone because that would take up too much space. That would just be far too time intensive versus, you know, just writing on a scroll. So they do still have libraries, and I won't explain the exact mechanism on how this works, but it has to do with sound propagation. Because Mer people have incredibly good hearing, and they are capable of echolocation. So that's like, I think I need to redesign Adamir's ear here from the recent conversations we had to make it kind of like more like intricate, like think a bat's ear. So kind of make it more intricate so that he's able to kind of like really pick up on echolocation. Because it was either that. So think bats on echolocation. It was either that, or it was give Adamir a massive forehead, like dolphins have, which are called melons. So I wasn't going to give Adamir a melon. Adamir doesn't deserve a melon. So yeah, they're getting kind of like bat-like ears that pick up sound really well. Yes. Was that the goal? Oh, dang it. Wait. So yeah, their kind of because Simon studies archaeology, right? She has a lot to do with cultures that didn't have a written language or didn't have like writing. Owl ears, easiest thing to draw ever. But like owl ears would have... Oh, owl ears don't exist. I thought you meant like the feathers of like owl ears. I thought you meant like, so not like snowy owls, but like the angry looking owls that look like ears, but they're not ears, I guess. Are they ears? I don't even know. But yeah, we were kind of like thinking, okay, bats can do echolocation. Are the mer people just humanoid dolphins? Or are they the bats of the sea? We'll never know. But it's these kind of things that make me so fascinated. Like of kind of like sciencing my way into explaining what these beings are. Because something that the mer people also have, because they're not necessarily mammals in the sense of they have to breathe air. Great horned owl, something like that. I don't know my way around owl names and stuff. So mer people don't have to breathe air like marine mammals do, right? They don't have to keep going up to the surface to breathe air. They can breathe underwater. And so they have gills. You can see Adamir here has gills on his neck. But they can also breathe air above water, so they don't suffocate above water. And that's because they have this thing called a swim bladder. And that's something that fish have. And a swim bladder helps fish kind of regulate how, like not their density, but like how high or how low they can swim in water. Because, you know, if we fill our lungs with air, we will float in water, right? We'll float. And, you know, if we're sometimes a bit heavier, then we'll go down in water. But like, that's how fish can be like neutrally buoyant. They're amphibious. They're kind of amphibious, yeah. But the reason that mer people can breathe is because this swim bladder then becomes their lungs when they breathe air on water. And basically the swim bladder is actually what evolved into our lungs. Because we are all fish. In case you didn't know, we are all fish. Fish is not a monophyletic group, which means a group that like evolved separate to everything else. We evolved from fish, which means we are fish. This is your big brain thing. So explain platypi. What do you want me to explain about them? I'm not necessarily an expert in platypi, but I am fish. You are fish. Cucumber, we can be proper fish people in Twin Life. We can be proper like boat people. A duck that looks like an otter, that swims like a fish, that somehow lays eggs. You know, that just basically shows that we all evolved from fish. Swims like a fish, it never lost the ability to swim. I mean, it probably came on land and then went back to water. I don't know the evolution of a platypus, but that's what I'm assuming it is. Because most mammals... What is the phylogeny of a... Your current twin life food is fish. Are you gonna... I mean, who knows, you know? What is the phylogeny of a platypus? Platypus phylogeny. And so when I say phylogeny, it means like what are the platypuses related to? For instance, like down the phylogenetic tree, we are relatively closely related to chimpanzees, right? Ducks and otters. But that's the thing is, like, ducks and otters are not close to each other. Oh, they're not even a mammal. Are they a mammal? No, they're not even a mammal. Well, they are a mammal, but like they're a What are they? They're not even marsupials. Okay, so let me try and get a good picture of the phylogenetic tree of a platypus. This might be something. So this is what a phylogenetic... Oh, you guys. This is mammals up here. Imagine up here where you guys are covering the screen right now. This is a mammal. So basically, phylogenetic trees kind of like show the relatedness of different beings. And I think this is like the relatedness of like a certain gene, but we're going to ignore the certain gene because we just want to look at like how related it is. Because we all, according to the most recent scientific knowledge, we all descended from like the same being, goodness knows how many years ago. How many tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of millions of years ago. And that last, it's called Luca, our last common ancestor that we all descended from. And then going from there, you have the dinosaurs, you have the birds, and the dinosaurs are closely related to birds. You have the mammals, you have the marsupial. Yeah, Luca. It's very cute. So, if we just do like a whole general phylogenetic tree, because you can really go far back. Yeah, let's have a look at this one. So you really go from like simple little worm-like looking fish, and then you kind of go to sharks. Like a lot of people say sharks are like really old ancient beings. They are. So you kind of go, you've got sharks here, and we are so far related. So the further along like these like little nodes are, the closer related you are. I hope you guys can see my little mouse because it's like a bit white and dark. The closer related you are, like the closer you are like on this line. If you imagine it like a family tree, right? So like marsupials are like we're mammals, right? We're placentas, I think. So like marsupials are our brothers or our sisters, you know, our siblings. So marsupials are our siblings. And like our parents are something that, you know, something that was in between a marsupial and a placenta. And we don't know what that looks like. Sometimes we do, sometimes we have the fossils, but we don't know exactly what that is. Bye, cucumber, see ya! And so basically that's how a phylogenetic tree goes. And like the tetrapoda, like that is like the group, and that's maybe like our great-great-grandparents versus, you know, Adam and Eve. how far back do you want to go, right? And so you kind of like, the closer you are on like this lower bit, the closer related you are. So you can kind of see that we're really far related from sharks. Sharks are up here, and we're down here. But you can see there's these things, like you have fishes up here, but fishes, I wish I could really show you like an entire, oh, maybe I could. So do you, like this entire bit here? No, you can't see that. Why can't you see that? I'm so sad. Why? I'm trying to screenshot. But anywhere from the Ostrictus onwards, which is basically the name of the group, all fish. All of it's fish. So birds are fish, amphibians are fish, reptiles are fish, we're fish. Basically. So that's what a phylogenetic tree is. And the reason why a platypus can't be a cross between a bird and an otter, like a duck and an otter, is because they're so far like removed from each other. And so platypus are actually quite interesting because there's something completely different. Oh, here we go. Let's have a look at this image. Didn't think of bring up Dakar. I'm always so happy to talk about science and nature. So up here, placental mammals, where you chat where you are, that's us. So placental mammals, that's mice, that's us. And then you go like our closest like relative in this group is marsupials. So think kangaroos, or the Australian existing people. Well, not necessarily. I'm not saying Australian people are marsupials, but like these are mammals that give birth to their babies like when they're really young and put them in a pack, put them in like a little pouch. So we're saying koalas, we're saying kangaroos, we're saying wallabies, you know. We'll ask Pearl. Indeed. Is Pearl a marsupial? Sam is a marsupial. Sure. And so those are the closer related. So they share a more recent common ancestor is what it's called. So further back, we both have an ancestor that the marsupials shared and we share. And then that evolved into these two different lineages. Further back from that is the most recent common ancestor of the platypus and the echidna. Does anyone here know a pop culture reference what an echidna is? Because I love echidnas for this reason and this reason only. And also, echidnas and platypus. Knuckles! Exactly! Knuckles is an echidna. And an echidna basically looks like a hedgehog, but is so distant related from a hedgehog. We're closer related to a hedgehog than an echidna is to a hedgehog. And so, the platypus is closely related to the echidna. And so, and then the next common ancestor is like lizards. I have the hummingbird looking for, I can see that, yeah, I see the hummingbird. And so then we kind of got lizards and like further on. Is lizards the next common? I think this is just kind of like an overview. Not necessarily lizard, but like anywhere from lizards to snakes to birds to dinosaurs. Those are like, we're as related to those as each other. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And so a platypus is actually relatively close to it. I mean, it's pretty distant to us, but not as distant as reptiles and birds. So basically, we don't really know what this last common ancestor looked like, because there's not that many fossils out there, period. You have to be incredibly lucky to find a fossil. But so we don't know what that was. It was most likely something like that looked like either a mouse or like a small horse-ish, something like that. Something like a mouse. Not even a horse, because it... Yeah, That's kind of like the most common like view of it, having seen like fossils and stuff. And then you kind of, you know, we get incredibly diverse. Like, look at us. We do not look anything like a mouse. And platypuses also don't look anything like a mouse. And so all these things evolve. And the reason that it looks like... Yes, I have to work in wildlife conservation. Why are we talking about marsupials and echidnas? Because Tokobo asked about what is a platypus, and I had to go into phylogeny. I had to bring out the bio talk. I had to start explaining to people what phylogenies are. And so the reason the platypus looks like a mix between a beaver, a duck, it lays eggs, it has a venom sac. It's venomous. The reason it looks like all these different things is because all these different things are pretty like, they give you some sort of advantage in surviving. What hath you wrought? You ask bio questions to a bio student and I'm gonna answer them. That's how this thing works. So the duckbill, right? The duckbill is, I don't know all the reason why all of these are like advantageous evolutionarily, but imagine like, I think what it eats is like grasses, right? So we don't really have like the perfect mouth to eat grass because we can't open it very wide. We can't like chow down on the grass. There's also a lot, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know what platypuses eat, to be fair. Yes, because you're well known for the biology knowledge and nothing else. That's the whole thing. I'm not well known for the biology knowledge, so whenever I can break it out there, I'm gonna do it. They eat food, wonderful. So that duckbill, or what you call a duckbill, is probably something that is very like advantageous. Tell you what, let's get a picture of a platypus. Why not? That duckbill is probably very advantageous for whatever they need to eat, right? And like the reason that they have the feet that they have, like these kind of, they don't even look webbed, but they're kind of wide. These kind of wide feet. This helps them swim easier in the water. Same with this kind of like wide tail that they have, which is also what otters have. They have a very similar environment to otters, so like they're going to evolve similar tails. And like the reason that they lay eggs is because people, like our current thought is that laying eggs is the more ancient trait. Crawfish and fish and such? Oh, okay. Sure. Also give them sonar, basically. Oh, I had no idea. That's so cool. I'm not a platypus expert. I've only ever looked at one as a skeleton. I've never seen a live platypus, but I've seen a platypus skeleton. That's cool. So I'm assuming like this little organ here is like a melon you'd see in a dolphin, maybe? But yeah, basically their entire body exists for the environment that they live in. And basically if you like imagine, like look at this tail for instance, right? Look at how wide this tail is. This tail means that you can swim better in water. But if your tail was slightly thinner, then you can't swim as fast in water. Then you have a higher chance of being eaten by a predator. So, and this is called selection. The reason that these guys have such wide tails is because it had an evolutionary advantage, and they were selected for. These traits were selected for. Glow teal under black light. I have no idea why that was selected for. What the heck? Wait, lavender, is that a joke because of Plary the Platypus? I feel like that's maybe a joke. I feel like that might be a joke. But I could totally see it happening because they're such weird and wonderful creatures. So imagine all the platypus. Is it platypuses or platypi? I feel like platypi sounds more elegant, but it sounds weird. No, it's true. Look it up. Platypus glow. What the heck? They glow so teal under ultraviolet light. Platyplies? Sure. Huh. Why? Why do they grow? Why do they glow under UV light? I mean, some animals can see in UV light. So maybe that's just another way that they can see each other. It is law accurate platypus. Zim got good news. Hi Zim. We're talking about platypi. What a weird creature. What's the good news? I'm looking for the picture again. Let's go! Zim is officially booked 100% coming to TwitchCon. Oh my gosh. Yay. I booked the TwitchCon tickets last week as well. Nice. That's so cool. Oh, hyped. We've definitely got a Zim. We've definitely got a Zim. Yay. Zim is like one of the people who's coming from the furthest. Zim and Ivan are coming over from the US. What the heck? Flights, hotel, and convention tickets. Dang. Dang. If you had all the money, you'd have just your localish aquarium. Just live at your localish aquarium. Huh? So yeah, the reason that the platypus is weird is because it had some sort of evolutionary advantage that selected for these traits, because all the beings that didn't have these traits either evolved into something else, and it's not a platypus, or they got killed. They didn't survive and they didn't produce offspring. And so, if you had all the money, you'd go to TwitchCon, yes. So yeah, like for instance, like the tail, like any kind of like narrower tail means that you can't swim as fast away from predators, and the people like the platypi or the platypi ancestors that couldn't swim as fast got eaten by predators so they couldn't have babies, and then, you know, that's how this trait spreads. That's kind of thing. Why are we looking at a picture of a platypus? Because Tokobot asked about platypuses and I had to bring out my platypus knowledge. Joked about predicting the glowing theme because it was discovered after... Really? Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that so much. What was... Okay, so I know why we were talking about platypi, but can someone explain to me why I'm looking at Adamir on my iPad right now and not looking at Zoragg? Because we were drawing Zoragg. Why are you surprised? It's almost like a beaver's tail, but thinner. Yeah. Oh, because I was telling you guys about like information storage and communication underwater. Yeah. So basically, Adamir and his people, the mer people, are the bats of the sea, and they have swim bladders. Earth the Katie. Okay, we Earth the Katie. Let's go back to Zoragg. Back to Zoragg. I take a sip of water and we can continue. And now you disappear into the shadows of feathers again. Zoragg! So yeah, we've been talking a lot about the mer people recently. We've been talking a lot about burials of different cultures, like burial rites and burial cultures. You must go study, learn. Enjoy the study and learn. I hope it's an interesting topic. Zoragg, you can fuddle me. Because for some reason, maybe her eyes are too big. Maybe this is what is throwing me off. Because I think this is another thing of where my style is changing. I'm making the eyes smaller than I used to. Oh, iPad glitch. Yeah, I like that more. You're afraid to ask about another aquatic creature. You're just question mark about. Go for it. I love aquatic creatures. I especially love aquatic mammals. Marine mammals. I think they're so cool. And which is why, like, I went through so many thoughts. Hi, Malty. Happy Easter to you and Princess too. Tardigrades are the best things in the world. I love tardigrades so much. Look, they are the most adorable things in existence, okay? You might not agree with me when I show you a picture, but bear with me. Tardigrade. Look at how flipping adorable this is. Look at it. It's so cute. It's so cute. It's so hard to stay focused. Look at its little legs. It's so hecking adorable. They're tiny. I've seen one before. I've seen one in our soil. You're both sorry for distracting me and not at the same time. Because it's cool to hear people talk about their interests and passions. Not all of these are very accurate pictures, but like, they're so adorable. Look at them. They're so hecking cute. I'm going to assume this is a pretty accurate drawing. The reason that tardigrades are amazing is because they can't die. You could put them in freezing water. Aren't they microscopial? Yeah, I've seen one through a microscope. What if people burials are similar to Zoroastrian funeral rites? Is that they believe that the body must be eaten or decompose naturally for the soul to be released. So they anchor the dead person in a special building where they will be eaten by fishes and then the bones are scattered into the deep sea pits. Not quite what we're going for, but sending a mer person to the deep sea is part of the burial. That is kind of like part of it. It's actually, the mer people have very Egyptian. So people who know a lot about ancient Egyptian burial rites and what they believed happened to the dead after death. That is what mer people believe. Very, very, yeah. Because Simon's got a whole lecture about the Book of Death. Is it the Book of Death? Taught in book. Ivan, we're looking at tardigrades. This is an Ivan subject as well, I'm pretty sure. No, they're microscopic. I've seen them float about on a petri dish. So they attempt to preserve the body? Not quite. That's not the part of ancient Egypt that I'm talking about. But they do wrap it up. They wrap it up in ribbons and ropes. Your life's possessions weigh you down in death. It's how you go to the afterlife. I gotta be honest, I don't know a lot about Egyptian lore. I just know what Simon's told me, so that's all I can do. I did enjoy watching Project Hail Mary. It was so cool. There's also microbiology there. Arguably, in my opinion, microbiology is the least interesting part of biology. That or human biology. Human biology is also a drab. But it's still really cool because biology is really cool. But yeah, tardigrades are crazy. You can put them in incredibly freezing conditions. You can put them in incredibly hot conditions. You can put them under extreme pressure. You can put them in a vacuum. You can subject them to so much radiation where a human would not survive. You could literally put them in space. And they won't die. or they're capable of surviving. Some of them will probably die. But no spoilers. This is one movie you want to see with no information going into it. Henry, go see it. Absolutely. It's fantastic. Wanting to carry their material wealth and comforts into the grave, since that's what they'd get in the afterlife. Okay. And they're so incredibly cute. They're called Bärtierchen in German as well, so it's oh. Yeah, tardigrades in space. They've literally been sent to space and survived. So, they are so cool. They are so flipping cool. And they're tiny. I don't know if there's anything more to say about tardigrades other than they're awesome and they can survive anything. And we're actually like learning from them ways that maybe we could survive longer in space for like long distance space travel, or we're learning from them what alien life could look like how alien life could survive in conditions outside of Earth. So they are just so fascinating because of that, and other reasons, but like tardigrades are awesome. Ba-dum. Yeah, tardigrades will absolutely be around long after we're gone. It's so weird drawing a human ear. There you request somehow slipping platypus or a tardigrade into a future animatic. Maybe. So a tardigrade would be harder to do. Because in theory, if there was ever like a scene next to a river in an animatic, I could like hide a platypus there, just part of the ecosystem. But a tardigrade is like really small. Like you can't see it with your bare eye. So that would be really hard to sneak into an animatic. I'm gonna be honest. I think maybe I need to draw Zoragg's hair before I draw the rest of her. Because her ear confuses me. And so Zoragg has... Oh, wrong layer. Zoragg has her hair pulled back into like a braid. I do like kind of like adding this like little bit of hair. I don't know if someone else already has this. For some reason this feels like something that I've done before. Who has this? Chat, help me. Do I have a character design that has like a little flip of hair that goes kind of like down like that? But to be fair, I kind of also like the idea of doing an Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars The Clone Wars with Zoragg, which is an incredibly niche reference. But for those who know, every time something got difficult for Obi-Wan, his hair would become a mess and fall into his face. So like, I like the idea, like the more Zoragg's in trouble, like the more hair kind of falls out of her braid and kind of like falls into her face. And, like that little bit of like first fringe kind of hair is the first bit of that. So she'd be far too put together normally. If she had the choice, she'd have like no hair out of place. If she could choose. So I did it with Zoragg. So it's super interesting. I did not read chat for a little bit. Hold on. Human ears are very wonky shape. They are built to funnel sand into the ear. Yeah, they are really weird to draw as well, we'll say. All features of creatures are purpose-built, optimized for how they live. Yeah. But you know what's even crazier about that, Henry, is sometimes that's not the case. There are some features that are so stupid where you think, how the flip did that evolve? And the reason that evolved is just by chance. Just by chance. Stuff like genetic drift. Like, just sod's law, this kind of thing evolved. A example of that is how painful childbirth is for women. How painful, like, our brains, our heads have grown far too large as human beings that childbirth is incredibly painful. And that kind of thing. So it's like, well, why did this evolve? Because stupid. Because why? Because stupid. Because, you know, evolution isn't smart. It just happens. And there's a really interesting discussion to be had on a spiritual level about it, on a religion level. because I am both a scientist that thinks, and I'm not going to say believe, but I think, based on the most recent research, that evolution is the way things happened. But I also believe in God who created us. And for so many people, that just does not compute. For so many people, that is like, those worlds don't cross. One of those statements is wrong. But for me, evolution is just the way that God created us. It's just a mechanism, and we're starting to understand that mechanism. And that's why I find it so cool. And that's why I find biology so cool as a Christian, because I'm trying to understand how the world works and how God made the world. That's just my own personal view on it all. Not trying to push it upon anyone else, but that's how I kind of see it, because a lot of people have asked me how the flip do you meld these two worlds? And that's how I meld these two worlds. Yeah. Ba-dup. Weaponized bug version of sweat. Okay. Ba-dup. What did I do? Henry, what did I do in the one animatic? Oh, aha, the hair thing with Zoragg. Okay, in that case it is probably this here then. This one. Oh shoot. Gotten rid of the YouTube. There we go. I guess I must have then in this character design. Yeah, I did. But I wasn't sure if I did it in another character. Okay. The video's not loading for some reason. But what's the evolutionary purpose of fingernails and toenails? My assumption is that there used to be claws that helped us climb and grope things and tear open stuff, because we are carnivores. That's my guess, but I don't know if that's true. Bum bum ba-dum bum. I'm reading through chat. I'm catching up on chat. Bear with me. Also religious and also believe that evolution is how things happen. Yeah. I think people get so stuck in the world was created in 7 days. Sorry. Apparently pastors trying to preach that makes me cough. That voice is not good. For me, that's kind of we don't know how long 7 days are in God's time. We don't know how long that is. It could be millions of years, right? Isn't part of the problem that we learn to stand on 2 legs way too early, so our childbirth is painful because our body is made for 2 legs, but childbirth is still for 4-legged things? I don't know. Maybe. Actually, regarding our oversized brains after we started walking upright, that was what I had in my brain, is that our brains are too big and that's why it's painful. It's cool to see how people from completely different parts of the world with different backgrounds can arrive having the same or very similar beliefs. Partly why you love learning about different religions, because they are not as different as we think they are when you boil it down. Yeah. You know, the big head thing is what I remember from anthropology. We got to put together a chimpanzee's skeleton in that lecture, which was wild. That was a wild practical. No other pain more after having you. So if especially if babies, from what I understand, if babies are in the womb for too long, obviously they keep growing. They don't stop growing at any point if they're overdue. And that can obviously also be more painful. Maybe we do have a little Chinoa. I don't know. But that's a more disheveled Chinoa. Zoragg! What am I saying, Chinoa? Ah! Oh, I'm so annoyed at myself. No, we'll have him be more put together in this. Fine. I need to have fluffier hair. How the heck does her hair work? Sorry, how does your hair work? I need to draw a hairline before I do anything else. Do 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 do. Ba-da-bum. But basically we had the inklings of bipedality around the time we'd split from chimps. And by the time we are obligate bipeds, our brains hadn't yet grown that much bigger. Where you reconcile with the creation story with geology is that the creation story kind of lines up with how the world developed and how life was created. Yeah. How does the world... Yeah. Sure. Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I find science so fascinating, because we're just learning about how the world works. That is how the world works. That is how the world works. I don't quite know how Zoragg's hair works. I'll give you that much knowledge. But it's fine. Okay, girl. Swordfish, sawfish, and narwhals, like how? They don't actually know why the narwhal's tusk exists. And I know more about narwhals than I do the other two. It could be a way to kind of like attract a mate. Because it's not something that is like easy to upkeep. Like the longer your tusk, the trickier, I guess it is to exist. I don't know. Why does Zoragg's head have like such different proportions? Oh, I know why. Because I need to make her hair fluffier. Because her head is a lot bigger then. You guys know what? It feels like we've come full circle. Because one of Chinoa... Why? I see Chinoa in the corner and I think Chinoa... No, Zoragg. One of Zoragg's original like character inspirations was Mako from Legend of Korra. And I'm kind of seeing the vibe now. I'm trying to get a good picture here. Especially when he's like got like his hair is more styled in later seasons. Dang it, why is there not a good picture here? There's just like only pixelated pictures, but like, so one of Zoragg's original like character inspirations was Mako from Legend of Korra. That is one of the original, and I'm definitely seeing it in the character design now. Like, do you see the difference? Is Zoragg just gender bent Mako? Who we'll never know. We'll never know. But yeah, the reason like narwhals have like the long tooth, it could be because of like impressing a mate. It could be for food reasons, like spearing up food, fighting over territory. defending yourself from anything that might hurt you, you know, that kind of stuff. I think I have an issue with this because everything else in Zoragg's shape language is very angular. But her hair isn't, so maybe I need to make her hair more angular. I talk about shape language a lot when it comes to like character designs. And Zoragg is like the definition of an angular character. Could it be for defense? It could be. I don't know if narwhals have natural predators. I'm guessing they do in like orcas, because orcas would kill anything. Absolute bullies of the sea. And they kind of live in like polar conditions. I think narwhals live in polar conditions, right? Don't stab the sharks. Tell you what, do you know what's got really like straight hair? Maybe Zoragg could have a bit more wavy hair. I like that actually. I like the idea. Hold up. Because Zoragg's hair is never open. Zoragg has always got closed hair. But I like the idea of one day Zoragg having like open hair, and it's like, imagine like Cleo kind of wavy. So it's like really like angular waves. Okay, I like that idea. Put a pin in that thought, it's fine. The softer hair could give contrast to Zoragg's more angular features. Maybe. Maybe. No! You know who she looks like? What the heck? How did I not make that connection? I literally mentioned Mako from Legend of Korra. And I did not think of Kuvira. Dudes! Oh no! I have an unintentional inspiration. Literally the same character. Oops, wrong character. It's Kuvira from Legend of Korra. Dang it! And like Kuvira, yes, Kuvira is a bad person, but has good intentions, and like is also a military boss, and hair always together. But when she's losing a fight, hair falls apart, and it falls apart in strands. How did I not notice? Oh no! Oh no! How did I not notice this, this? I mean, they're not, like, Zoragg's not evil. But flip, like, even the slightly wavy hair is so Zoragg now. I can only see Zoragg. Any resemblance to villainous characters mentioned in Legend of Korra is purely accidental, yes. Sharks are friends, not food. Yeah, sharks, don't eat sharks. I know it's a delicacy in some places, but dudes, sharks are top predators. They're literally the top of the food chain. I'm going to plug you guys on this screen briefly so that we can have this very quick tangent. Sharks are the top of the food chain, which means they eat all the things lower down in the food chain, right? Which means they eat all of the toxic things in these animals that they can't get rid of. And so sharks are full of toxins, which is why you absolutely should not eat top predators. You shouldn't eat like wolves, you shouldn't eat bears, you shouldn't eat dolphins. Don't eat them. Don't. Not worth it. Yeah, it's seen in some places to have like healing abilities, I think. Or, you know, it's just like, just no. I've seen documentaries to how horrid like these fisheries are that collect these like shark, just the fins and throw the rest. Like sometimes they literally just chop off the fins and throw the rest of the shark back in the ocean, where it will obviously die because it can't swim. And it's horrid. It's atrocious. I can't unsee Zoragg being Kuvira now. Flippin' heck. And you here with sushi, come in, Nemo. But, yeah, it's difficult because we all need to survive, right? We all need to eat something to survive. In theory, all the things that we eat are really bad to the environment and to the beings around us, right? Eating red meat is incredibly bad for like ecosystem use because they're chopping down rainforests so they can house cows or grow soy for the cows. And even like the extensive soy production, because people have been seeing soy as like a good protein alternative. That is also chopping down rainforest so that we can increase soy production, or, you know, cocoa production for chocolate, or coffee production, or banana, you know, those kinds of big things. Everything that we eat is kind of bad for the environment. Our entire existence is bad for the environment, right? But at some point, we also kind of need to survive. And we need to have a relatively healthy diet. So I understand people that where it's their only food source is the fish that they catch, is the fish that their townspeople catch of a day. That depends how much that fish they catch. I'm thinking like island communities. That determines how much they can eat, and they have fish every day in their meal. Right? And so, and the way they do it, the way they fish these, do this fishing is like a lot more ecological than, like you say, industrial farming. So, if they don't have a choice, then they don't have a choice. Flippin' heck, let's not take that choice away from them. They have to eat. They have to feed their families, right? But we, as Westerners, I'm assuming a lot of us are Westerners, or I'm saying Westerners as a broad term. I'm saying Europe. I'm saying North America, I'm saying, you know, Australia, New Zealand, like wealthy countries that have like been wealthy for a long time. We have the choice in what we eat. We can choose what we eat, and we can choose what we don't eat, right? What do tardigrades eat? I can imagine they eat plant matter, I don't know, small stuff. And so we can make the choice, are we going to eat red meat? That is the reason that our forests are being chopped down. And I'm not trying to preach stuff that I don't, you know, I'm not trying to preach stuff because like I am also not perfect in this, dudes. I had a lamb joint today. We had a roast lamb today, okay? I'm not perfect. But like just kind of like considering how much, like the biggest impact that you can have on the environment is considering how much red meat you eat and considering how much fish you eat. And how fresh that is, and like how far that produce had to travel, right? Because, for instance, I live in Central Europe. If I eat beef imported in from Argentina, it might be the best beef in the world, but I should not be eating it if I'm not in Argentina, you know? I don't care if the steakhouse does fantastic Angus ribeye from the Scottish Highlands. I don't want to eat it because it's had a long distance travel. I would rather have meat from a cow that was raised in the Swiss Alps with a good life, and then didn't have to like travel incredibly far, and we didn't have to cut down rainforest or graze important wetlands in Scotland, you know, for these animals to exist, right? And just kind of like looking at your food and seeing how local it is already a fantastic impact you can make on the environment. And that's just like,
that's just looking at a packet. And maybe, you know, the meat that comes from a more local farmer is more expensive. Honestly, I think in many places meat is far too cheap, considering an animal had to lose its life for you to have that, right? I think meat should be far more expensive. And yeah, I'm not in any way perfect. I drink milk, I eat meat. Not very frequently, but you can't take my lattes away from me. But I always look at where my products come from. Are they ethically sourced? Are they local? And I know that's like a big ask for some people because, you know, not everyone does their own shopping. Not everyone can afford everything. And it's just kind of like, it's a step-by-step process, right? It's a step-by-step process. I'm going to make Zoragg's like braid over her shoulder a bit.
Zoragg is also Elsa! Yes!
Exactly, support farmers, not industries. And yeah, the whole animal welfare conversation is a completely different conversation. And it's something I find incredibly difficult to wrap my head around, you know? Because like I was saying, everything we do, the fact that we, as people who are, you know, using the internet here, that's using power. That would maybe came from like coal mines or nuclear stuff. Actually, nuclear is not terrible. It's not long-term solutions, but it's better than coal and gas and stuff. And fossil fuels. But yeah, the fact that we're like here online right now, just doing this stuff for fun, using up energy, we are the biggest problem. But we also need to kind of like live in the world that we have. We can't like completely separate ourselves from this world. So we do what we can. And there's a lot that we can do. And sometimes there's only so much heart you have for certain subjects. Like, I understand like that there's like a whole question of animal welfare. And that's something that is very much on Simon's heart. My big concern in like the whole world of, oh, we mustn't do this, is stuff like fast fashion, is stuff like, you know, anything that kind of like destroys the rainforest is really like weighs hard on me. So yeah, it's just kind of like, I only have so much heart for so many subjects that I find are important. And it's definitely important for all these subjects to kind of be addressed. But don't like, what I'm trying to say is don't burn yourself out. Don't burn yourself out in worrying about all these different things, because it's something that I've done in the past. And there's so much hope for our world. Because very often it's very doom and gloom. There's so much hope for our world, and there's so many awesome people doing amazing things. So, you know, care about the things that really stand close to your heart. And if you are caring wholeheartedly for them and not like overwhelming yourself with all the different things you could care about, then you're already doing a great thing. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm making sense. Zim says there's a brand in your area called Pineland Farms. It's an actual farm near you. Or work with larger cow farms in Pennsylvania. Support beef and people that have assumption to supply beef. And people have the assumption that because it's a nearby brand that it will be from a nearby farm. Aha. Yeah. There's a lot of that kind of thing, and it's very difficult because brands are very much trying to greenwash, which is a way of like, which is a term for when brands and companies say they're good for the environment, but they're actually not as good as they say that they are. That's called greenwashing. Your main LC has become Elsa too? Yeah, nice. The side braid is just very common and nice looking hairstyle. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's also kind of like, you know, a Katniss Everdeen hairstyle, you know? Nuclear is actually incredible and should be used while green renewable energy infrastructure can be put in place. Also, nuclear could support coal mines during the transition period. Exactly, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's a great solution, but not a long-term solution. Not the entire future. But it's really interesting how you hear eco people and they're going on the streets protesting against nuclear power plants. while having driven to that protest with cars with fossil fuels in their engines. It's these double standards. I've been being a little more careful about your use of plastic and wrapping your lunch sandwiches in wax paper rather than using plastic bags. I use paper bags. We use paper bags in like sandwich stuff. Wax paper I've tried wax paper and it just gets really greasy very quickly. So I find it very difficult to kind of wash it. Henry, if you have a good way of washing those, then I'd love to know. But yeah. The thing that gets to use most is that generally most average people care at least a little bit about keeping the world alive. But corporations and the people running them tend to be evil and only care about money. Yeah. But the thing is, we need to like open dialogues, right? We need to open dialogues with these corporations because it is like there is an incentive not to care about what they're doing to the environment. And in fact, if we're talking from a scientific standpoint, has anyone ever heard of IPBES? IPBES. I don't know what it's called for. I don't know what it stands for, but they've recently released a report. They've released reports on biodiversity and the climate. And they recently released a report kind of explaining, here you go, the Intergovernmental Platform for Biodiversity and Ecosystem Sciences, I'm assuming is what that is. So they recently released a report kind of explaining, hey, if businesses don't go like supporting nature now, this will spell their doom in the future. And that report has had incredible like influence in the world of business. Oh, you throw away the wax paper and have reusable lunchbox. Oh, okay. Because there is wax paper that is like a cover that you are supposed to like try and reuse. My mum has a bunch of those, but like, oh flippin' heck, they look so grubby and disgusting, and I get just a bit hesitant to use that over food. But yeah, there needs to be incentives for businesses to work on that. And it's really difficult for businesses to see so long term if the short term is cheaper, even though the long term might be more expensive. And what you need to do is just kind of like explain to businesses, and that's what these reports are doing, and that's what these institutions are doing, is being like, hey, this will spell your downfall if you don't do something about it. And through that, that needs to kind of like, turn to policy to give like businesses incentive to be more eco-friendly, right? Because right now, businesses who are more eco-friendly have a far higher chance in this capitalist world of going bankrupt because their competition isn't doing that, right? So there needs to be an incentive for everyone to do that, because if one person doesn't do that, they are trumping everybody else because they're doing better because they don't have to think about the environment, right? At the detriment of everyone. So it needs to come from policy. And so you need to put people in power who are conscious of our ecosystems and our nature. And that might mean in short term that you have a lower quality of life. It's just the way it is. Our quality of life is not sustainable. We can't continue like this. So your quality of life might be less because, you can't fly internationally every year. You can't have an international flight every year. You can't eat meat 7 days a week because meat's too expensive. That is kind of like, it is too much of a luxury to have that. And that's like freedoms that a lot of people don't want to give up, even if it's for the greater good. And so some people are just so enamored by money that they don't care about the rest of the world, because if the world burns, they're rich enough to build their bunkers. And those aren't the people that you should be putting in charge, because they don't care about the welfare of people. They care about making more money for themselves and their shareholders. And the problem is, the people in power are usually very wealthy and very influential in the spaces with people who have a lot of money. So that's kind of like often the problem. But they are in the minority. Those people are in the minority. Yes, they have a lot of money. But if you live in a democracy, then people are the voice. People need to come together and understand that the rich, if the rich are trying to like manipulate them, people need to come together and vote for people that won't be swayed by money. Vote for people that really have our future in their best interest. And international collaboration in their best interest, because international collaboration leads to change. Once the food runs out, they're as screwed as everyone else. Yeah, it's just, yeah, they don't think about that far because most of them are like 80 and they don't care because they've only got another 10, 20 years to live and they just want to have the lavish life and build a legacy, and they don't care what that legacy is, they just want to build a legacy, you know. Anyway, sorry, that has been heavy subjects right next to each other. What a great speech, you can't ruin it. Oh, I'm pleased that like there can be motivational things. There is a lot of feelings of powerlessness, I feel like, in our generation. And I feel it too, don't get me wrong, I feel it too. Where it's like, there's nothing that you can do. It feels like there's nothing that you can do, everything's out of your reach. But there always is something you can do. You can voice these injustices. You can voice these things that are happening. And no matter how much leaders are trying to kind of like, you know, spin it on other people. And yes, there are sometimes it's sometimes dangerous to speak up against your, you know, tyrannical leader. You know, sometimes in some situations it's dangerous to speak up against the government. Please make sure you're safe first. Anyway. But other than that, use your voice and educate yourself. I think the best thing you can do is learn how these people manipulate and search what is actually the truth and how the rhetoric of people, even people that you might not like, their rhetoric in their speeches and stuff, where they aim to like villainize people, they aim to scare you. Oh, sorry, Lavender. Trying to get off politics. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just a little bit passionate about this, and I just kind of like want to bring hope to the younger generations that there is stuff that we can do. But just kind of like just kind of like read up in ways that these people specifically use their rhetoric to scare you. And if you know how they're doing it, if you know the kind of like tactics that they use, they can't get to you as much. Anyway, I apologize. Even my phone is shouting at me, going like, no. I apologize. I usually keep things very, very lighthearted. I'm so sorry. I try to keep away from these like heavy topics, but I want us to like not lose hope. But there is so much hope. There is so much goodness out there. There's so much hope. There's so many people working towards making our world a better place. And you can be a part of that. That's okay, Katie. Yeah, we continue drawing. That's Zoragg. Yeah, sorry. I feel like I had to get something out of my system there. I do apologize. I can understand that it can hit very close to home for some people. Me coming from a country that is relatively liberal and doesn't have a well-known, very powerful leader. I can understand, yeah, that I don't have like that closeness, even though it feels like it's affecting the whole world. Character design. So Zoragg is Elsa. I haven't decided how long I want her hair to be. I actually really liked like this character drawing here, where she's kind of like got her hair open. And she's kind of tying it into a braid in this one. I like the length of it there, actually. I feel like right now it's too short. It feels too short. But that's because we're kind of running out of space on the page as well. So maybe we need to make Zoragg a little bit smaller. Ooh. 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 You have 2 legs. And you can punt 2 things. Okay. Was a hypothetical situation. How many beavers do you think you could take in a fight if they all attacked you at once? Honestly, not even 1. I think beavers can be terrifying. If they really wanted to have a go at me, they could just like rush up to me and screech at me, and I'd be terrified and I'd be running. Could take at least 5 without going. The problem is, I don't want to get ouchied. I have no intention of getting mauled to death by beavers. So maybe that's kind of like where I fall short. So I don't really know like what to give Zoragg like outfit wise. Characters like Zoragg and Adamir, I have no idea about like their outfits. Adamir for the reason that he's usually underwater, so I don't even think he'd know what he would wear on land, because do you guys often think about what your underwater outfits would be like, you know? So I don't think I know much about Adamir. I mean, I know a bunch about about mer people fashion. There has been so much thought put into there. Think pearls, think decorations out of coral, think long flowing garments, because that regally flow in the water, that are actually like designed with this to be like a certain weight so that they flow nicely in the water, but they also don't flow upwards so you can't see anything. So much thought gone into what mer people wear. 0 thought gone into what Adamir would wear on land. Literally, my thoughts on Adamir? Pirate shirt. That's it. In fact, actually, that's literally what all his character designs on land have been so far. Literally pirate shirt. Hold on. I don't know why we keep going to Adam. I think I've got Adamir on the brain right now. Hi, Blue-Eyed Raven. I certainly have Adamir on the brain. Pirate shirt. Literally my only thought when it comes to this boy on land. Pirate shirt, and like I always felt like the blue trousers were kind of cool, because a lot of people have like brown trousers. Yeah. And you know what? It always makes me happy when I can switch between like old designs from 2021. This is 5 years ago, peeps. This is what I drew 5 years ago. And this is what he looks like now. Look at that character. Look at that character development. Like the vest for Zoragg, or like the sleeveless shirt for a more militaristic jacket. Yeah. Sleeveless shirt. Yeah, I think that's what we've got so far. So the thing is, like Zoragg, when Zoragg comes to the overworld, to the land, ain't no one land called the land of the living. So yeah, Zoragg kind of like just this sleeveless top. How many people could you take in a fight if attacked all by once? We're asking everybody this question. Everyone in chat, give us an answer to that question. Scarves are good with pirates and flowy, but warm if the mergy. Oh, I like lavender. I like the idea of a scarf, because that is also the question. Because this is something that we've also talked about, like the mer people's design. They don't have seasons. The ocean doesn't really have seasons. It kind of stays the same temperature. Like when you get like a certain amount below the surface, and that like the amount is tiny. I can't remember the exact amount. 2 maybe more. 4 or 5. Wow, Blue-Eyed Raven, you are powerful against the beavers. But so like because Adamir's kingdom is in a place that does not experience seasons, that has such an effect
on the way their society would work. No winters where you have to provide food for storage, like provide and store food to survive the harsh winter. No springtime, which is the breeding season for all your livestock. You know? It's pretty cool. Multi's back. Hey, Multi. How did I miss Multi in chat? So it's kind of like there's so much thought to go into like the mer people. But yeah, I imagine they have terrible temperature regulation because they literally exist at one temperature. Maybe it changes from night to day, that I can see. But water retains heat a lot more than air. Respond to the question above. How many beavers could you take in a fight, Multi? We demand. Now, the question is, does the king have a sword or no? You Right, quite the question, isn't it? So yeah, I feel like maybe mer people have terrible temperature regulation. So he'd be like really sweaty in hot areas. And dude, if Adamir loses too much water, oh no, we can't have a dehydrated merman. 3 maybe? Okay. You don't get a sword or a lava bucket. No, Multi stays away from lava buckets now. Multi's had bad experiences with lava, haven't you, Multi? Karma. Multi has experienced so much karma within the last week. It's just so good to see. It's so much feedback. It's so much payback. And I didn't even have to lift a finger. All I had to do was organize a little series called Twin Life. Just you wait. Just you wait. You also don't get a water bucket, noob. Just your hands. I wonder if a water bucket would make the beavers more powerful, because the water is their element. The water isn't necessarily our element. Waiting. Multi and I are on different musical wavelengths. I'm going Hamilton, Multi's going epic. So, yeah, the mer people have, I could imagine, really bad temperature regulation. Because that was also the question, right? If the ocean is cold, they will need a lot of blubber. The mer people will need a lot of fat to keep them warm. Have you seen how round dolphins are? They need so much blubber. Either that, do they live shallow or deep? So they don't live in coral reefs. They don't live that shallow because that's where the sirens live. And you don't want to live next to the sirens. Some ocean warm, some ocean cold. Yes, that is true. They live, I want to say... So the vibes that I have on the depth of the mer people's kingdom is about the depth of the kingdom in The Little Mermaid, of Ariel's kingdom, you know? And to be fair, our climate doesn't really make sense. Like, we created... mer people should be very chonk, indeed. But funnily enough, Adamir is incredibly lean in the sense of it's a plot point that he don't have the muscles. All his brothers are very strong, and Adamir is very strong in the brain, but not very strong in the rest. Being threatened being ripped is incorrect unless magic keeps him warm. Exactly. Should live near thermal vents. Oh, interesting. Lack of blubber. So part of me is wondering if they should be cold-blooded. That is another way that I can biologically explain this, is cold-bloodedness. Because the reason that you got blubber there is because you keep warm. Wait, I've just confused myself. No, cold-bloodedness is not what I'm thinking of. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of something else. Why fish, not chunk? Does this mean Poseidon could be chunk too? I don't know, man. Poseidon is god of the sea. He's not
dependent on the sea. He has supernatural powers. And to be fair, so do the merpeople. The merpeople have special powers, although they have lost that over time and only very few have special powers. Like the sirens. The sirens have very special powers, but they are ridiculed for having those powers because they are used for evil very much, a lot of the time. By the way, I have no idea how a braid works, so I'm just kind of like I'm just winging this braid. So bear with me here. I used to know how braids work because I used to draw them more often. I don't know why I used to draw them more often. What did I used to draw that had a braid? I like how, like, chaotic this braid is. I like the shape language here. I think I'm thinking too much about this. I always think too much about this. That's how these things work. Remember at the start of the stream where I was like, yeah, let's get Zoragg done finished. Done finished quickly. Done finished. Let's get Zoragg done quickly so we can do some twin life sketches. It's been almost 3 hours. Fish seems pretty chunk when they are served up in front of you. Oh dear, Multi. You missed the tangent where I was talking about don't eat fish and don't eat red meat. We had a bit of a political tangent. Oh my gosh. I'm a bit embarrassed that I talked so passionately about different things in a wholesome stream. But I hope I could encourage some people. Now you want to draw biologically accurate mermaids, chunky mermaids? Yeah! Now I feel like the braid is getting too long. Hold up. I feel like this is... Maybe like this is the point where we need to finish off the braid. Because I like the idea of like the braid kind of being a kind of proxy for Zoragg's tail when she's a panther. Not that it can like move of its own volition. What do you mean by twin life drawings? Princess return help. Hi Princess, did you have a nice Easter? Did Princess have a good time for Easter? So I think we'll just go for the like light vest for now. I think it's fine. But yeah, Zoragg shows up in full uniform for her thing, but it's not very practical to like travel in that uniform, so she needs to like discard parts of that uniform for other clothes. But I just haven't decided like what part of the uniform she would discard. Yeah. Boop. Girl, be powerful. Okay. Hi, Volgun. Ariel being as thin as a reed is out. She's gonna be chubby now. But like a cute chubby. Yeah. I'm doing good, Vulcan. How have you been with the Artemis launch, my dude? You feeling tired? I need to ask Princess a question about the beavers. Princess, how many beavers do you think you could fight in a battle? And how many beavers do you think Daddy could fight in a battle? Very stressed out of your mind, I can imagine. Do you get like a chance to rest a bit more now, my dude? Or is it still like very, very busy? Ba-da-ba-da-bum-bum. Oh, for those of you who don't know, Vulcan, am I okay to share, like, the stuff that you do? This is? Daddy could fight 0. And she could fight 10. Normally scheduled, but back to work tomorrow with a different mission. Oh, okay. It continues. Vulcan does like journalism and photography for space missions and like any kind of space themed stuff, which is an incredibly cool job. So you guys can imagine with the Artemis mission, Vulcan had plenty to do. Oh, no, not what I wanted. Oh, shoot, for goodness sake. I'm confusing myself, guys, so much right now. Hold on, I need to start again. What was I trying to do anyway? Oh, I need to just make her... I think she's a little bit too large. Or at least like her neck is too long. What do we think of Zoragg? Girl looks quite similar to how I used to draw her, but like in my current style, which makes me happy. There we go. You think you could take at least one? The thing is, right, with fighting beavers, I don't want to get ouchied. So I don't want to get her, I don't want to get like bitten by big beaver teeth because I feel like they could go deep, right? My dad was bitten by a marten. Anyone know what a marten is? And I'm not saying Martin Littlewood, I'm saying a marten. Do 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 do. No, that's with an E, Marten. These guys. My dad got bit by one of these guys. Like, they don't have particularly sharp teeth. Or they have very sharp teeth. But they like, because they're a predator. Like, the beaver's teeth are bigger. And he was bitten by a really small one. Like a tiny, tiny, tiny one. That was like the size of a mouse. And it bit to his bone. It bit down to his bone. So I feel like beavers could bite so much worse. Yeah, that got auto-modded. So, like, I don't want to get ouchied by a beaver. But if I had to... Stop doing auto-mod! Stop writing little wood, because that'll get auto-modded. Wait, Multi, you're a mod! You're not seeing auto-mod on your phone? Oh. Are we ready to draw? Are we ready to draw? Are we ready to colour Zoragg? Let's see what she looks like when she duck. Her eyes are incredibly intense. Oh my gosh, I kind of like it. Very intense stares. Stares are as intense as can be. She is giving snake vibes though, because of the slitted eye. Is she staring into your soul enough? I think she is. She would be the kind of person to stare into your soul from a real far away. She's the person, like every other of our OCs. You guys know the meme of like, he asked for no pickles, where like someone's doing like having to complain to customer service like he asked for no pickles. She is the one who's asking who says that he asked for no pickles, and every one of the other characters is like sat behind her going like, yeah, you say it, Zoragg, you say it. How many beavers could Zoragg take in a fight? Hundreds. Henry, she can turn into a panther. She's an incredibly skilled warrior and she can turn into a panther. A lot. In your very personal opinion, I feel like Zoragg needs something special like jewelry or a scar or even a cool hair tile. Feels a bit too plain right now. Could also do fun color like sketch right now, but you can ignore me. Yeah, I think I honestly feel like I get you, my dude. I get you. Fight in human form, she's still very, very powerful there. She's very, very good. She's a great fighter. I mean, when I'm talking about Chenoa and Zoragg being like fantastic fighters, like on par with each other, that's Zoragg fighting in human form. That's not even Zoragg fighting in panther form. I would argue she's actually a better fighter in human form than she is in panther form. But I don't know. At least 100 beavers? Agreed. Yeah, I don't know. So the thing is, right? Well, she had like beaver genocide, I guess. Yes. I could imagine her maybe having like jewelry in her braid or in her hair. Because if you do like any, like I don't want to give her a scar. Because it doesn't really make sense for her to have a scar. There's not really a big fight in her backstory that would give her a scar. And she's already incredibly like edgy personality-wise and looks-wise. I don't want to give her more edginess. But I do kind of like the idea of like having like jewelry in her braids. But thanks for pointing that out, my dude. Like, and definitely like I want to invite people like if there's something that you think could be improved in a design, I want to hear all your ideas. Obviously, I know the character better than you guys, so maybe I will veto some of those ideas and say like, no, it doesn't fit this character. Like if you were to say like, she needs to have a tiara. That's just not Zoragg. Get the princess to bed. Good night, princess. Last night with you before you go to Disney, before she goes to Disneyland. Oh my gosh. Let's go. Have a good time at Disneyland, princess. I had a fantastic time at Disneyland when I was about your age. I went to Disneyland, so that was awesome. Have some jewels that are like fake diamonds you twist in your hair. Just sparkly in your hair. Cool. I'm thinking more like rings, right? No scar because no one could give her a scar. Exactly. And maybe like further along the story she gets into a fight. Or she has like a battle that gives her a scar. I can totally see that further along the line. Like, dudes. So these are the character designs at the beginning of the story. These are the character designs at the beginning of the story. Maybe Chenoa less so, because at the beginning of the story, Chenoa has like really short hair. Think pixie cut or even shorter. But like, yeah. This is the beginning of our story when these characters kind of like, what these character designs are from. And then there's character designs at the end of the story. But I like the idea of like golden rings. Because gold fits her color palette really well. Because she has glowing yellow eyes, for those who don't know. Zoragg has glowing yellow eyes. And that's also a way to decipher high spirits from mortals, right? This is pre-trauma, yeah! Well, some people have already had trauma in their backstories as the story starts, so like, yeah. Like Chuck Norris, no. In your world, no one could get close enough to give her a scar. Well, maybe her friends come close enough to give her a scar, you know? Maybe something happens. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know! Trauma in a D&D adventure? No. It's not a D&D adventure, though. But I like the idea of hair rings because it could like show her rank. Ear cuff? What's an ear cuff? What's an ear cuff? Oh no, friends betrayal, no! It's an ear cuff. I'm googling that now. Bye Martin. Bye not. Bye cute Martin pictures. Oh, yeah, I see. I see. Yeah, I don't know if like any kind of... I can't really explain it to you guys. Oh no, the law! I can't really explain it to you guys. For some reason, little rings in her hair feel more Zoragg than like an earring. You know? Hair rings show rank in quantity or quality. I don't know. I've seen a lot of like dwarven lore with that kind of thing, like threading beads into your beard and stuff. And you know, that would give like a really cool reason as well why Zoragg has long braided hair. Because I don't think she cares at all for like material things, right? But if these kinds of like decorations are of your achievements, then she will wear them with pride. But I can imagine like jewelry that you put on your body, like not in your hair, but on your body, like on your ear, around your neck, that kind of thing. I can imagine that not really being a thing in Halvor's place because it feels very earthly. It feels like it's far more like, I don't know, I'm just trying to like give an explanation of how I feel, of the vibes. Because sometimes you can turn vibes into like proper lore. Maybe we can give her some like golden rings in her pleated hair. Whoop. Here. And maybe like 2 rings here. Because I also imagine maybe like rings and like earrings and necklaces could easier get caught in a fight. Whereas if, or like, you know, taken against you, like rip at the ear and ouchie, or rip at the necklace and ouchie. Whereas in the hair, if you rip at the hair, yes, okay, ouchie, but like, may I say her eyes are lovely? Thank you. I'm kind of like working on that kind of thing. If you lose a fight, you shave your head, but if you win a fight, you add a ring? Maybe? I don't know. I honestly don't know what kind of fight Zoragg would have won. The achievements in the hair, then hair rings show rank in quantity. I guess, yeah. And I guess, but you could also have like different types of rings that show like different achievements. I can imagine, right? Place you are in society, more rings equal higher rank. I don't know if there's like higher ranks in society. Because I think everyone in Halvor's space is very equal. Like every single job that people do is respected. But and everyone takes their job very seriously. I mean, Zoragg's job specifically is incredibly important. But I don't think... But I think maybe there are ways to show your achievements. Stuff that you have done. Versus your rank in society. You know? Because rank in society feels a lot more of a happenstance or genetic thing, you know? And there's no genetics in this people. They are made by flame of the same fire. They're all brothers and sisters. I guess. But having long hair shows skill because no one can cut it. Exactly. It's a way that you can kind of show off your skill by... Even this could be like a gold ring. This one could have like some Little embellishments. I mean, I don't think Zoragg would even care about embellishments. I think they'd just be golden rings, honestly. Maybe we could have some like even threaded into her hair, kind of like here. Top. Although that looks like little kids like pigtails. I think it looks cooler when it's like further down, but we could have a fiddle when she's coloured. Let's start colouring. I like this idea. Bidgy. I mean, the thing with Zoragg is she really does not care about like looking pretty embellishments kind of things. Did many productive things today and you feel good? That's good to hear, my dude. I've been so unproductive. I was so unproductive yesterday and so unproductive today in like some things, but in like soul things, if that makes sense. Things that heal the soul, things that are good for the soul. I've been so productive because I baked a pie for my family and spent time with my family. I went to church on Friday and today, and that is always soul healing. I played It Takes Two with Zim. Guys, we finished It Takes Two. Zim and I finished playing It Takes Two. And now we're going to move on to Split Fiction, because that was such a good game. We really enjoyed it. The ending came so fast. Now, these are just colours that I'm taking from like old colour palettes, but right now she looks incredibly orange. I'm going to get rid of Chinoa now. She's looking so orange. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay with this colour. I don't know what colour to make her background, actually. What colour backgrounds have we got so far? Don't you know what is the orangey yellow? We've got some orangey yellows. I might make the background like a red. We haven't had a red background yet. Red, the background of angry men. Have anyone played Murder in the Dark? No, I haven't. As long as you're doing something, you're being productive. I don't know. Scrolling on your phone is doing something, you know? I don't know how productive that is. There are some things that are more productive than other things, I guess you could say. Interesting that we have a little gap here. I'm going to see how that looks with like the colouring. I'm really interested to like after this kind of like figuring out initial portraits, because we're taking a long time on these characters. Okay, we have a little bit of tangents. We have a couple of tangents. Dude, that's awesome, Zim. Let's go. The game inspired Among Us. Oh, interesting. So let's make the background color like a bit of like a dark red, because that might help us kind of understand Zoragg's skin color more without seeing it just on a grey background. I find the concept of making like a red background and then making it go lighter without turning it to pink incredibly difficult. Well, difficult. I'm doing it right now, but I find it very interesting versus, you know, going like from a blue background to a light blue background. So now I don't feel like the skin is too orange at all because we have an orange background. That's kind of like the trickiness of this kind of thing, right? All colors are like relative to each other. Yeah, well. Clipping mask. So her hair color was incredibly dark and more on the grayish side. If we're going, well, yeah, we're going for more like a desaturated brown. Because, girl, if our person who turns into a Black Panther does not have black hair, who else is allowed to have black hair? Let's be honest. We have a lot of dark hair in this. Maybe that's something that we should look at. To be honest, Zimon has tried to get me to like agree to Kira being a redhead. Kira being a ginger. And maybe I could one day be convinced to that. I don't know yet. Maybe. But I like the kind of like the dark red hair. I kind of like that we kind of have for her right now. So maybe, you know, maybe like a darkish ginger. Who knows? I don't think I'd do like a brave, like a Merida ginger. But I'm not sure. One day, mayhaps. Mayhaps. And so I think these little like decorations should all be different like metals and different colors of metals. So silver, bronze, gold. Yeah, kind of stuff. As we try to figure out a new eye design for our characters. Boop. Hi Keeper, welcome, my dude. Welcome to chat. The thing with gingers is their hair color is so hard to draw and have it look natural. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't remember having much trouble with like drawing like Gem. But I can totally like imagine Kira having a bit of a darker ginger because let's be honest, Rain has like platinum blonde hair and pink skin. We could be a little bit crazy with our colors here. There's her eyes. There she is. Probably wonder, should I give her a red top? I feel like a red top would be cool. Everyone's kind of like got... Oh, Janelle's got a green top. Okay. Adam is orange. Yeah, why not a red top? For some reason I had in my brain that everybody had like a white top. Maybe because that was like from previous character designs where everybody was just wearing white tops. Biddy bim. I don't need to look at it natural, they have no soul. Okay. Blonde hair you struggle with? Yeah, there's so many different types of blonde that I can see that. Because very often blonde hair can look brown in a certain context, right? And especially if you're like color picking from people and characters. So for instance, I've actually drawn a lot of people who are actually blonde IRL. And like different types of blonde. So like here, we have, ooh, hello. We have kind of, so if we look at the reference picture, right? We have a jump scare of the TwitchCon peeps. So everyone's kind of like, I've got the darkest hair here. And then we've got Beanie, we have Crow, and we have Conan. Conan has relatively light brown hair. You could almost, like, in certain lights, look at it as blondish. But Crow, because Crow is my brother and I know Crow has blonde hair, Beanie has very blonde hair. And so it's kind of like talking about, like, how do I kind of have those blonde colors in there in my more stylized style? Because if I had just color picked from their hair, then everyone's hair would have looked brown. Everyone's hair would have looked brown. So I had to go a little bit more yellow and kind of go from there. And it's also really interesting when it comes to talking about character design. Let me just think. Probably Feed the Machine is probably the best place to go for this. For instance, like, so if I were to, for instance, just color pick from Jimmy and Martin, hey, you know those guys. You'll see those guys IRL soon, won't ya? Oh, you're watercoloring? Burnt sienna with a dash of green. Green, interesting. So if I'm going, so I also got my watercolor. Let me just open up my watercolors and remind myself the colors that I have. I think burnt sienna is definitely one of my favorites, but that's quite brown, isn't it? Isn't burnt sienna pretty brown? Burnt sienna. I think you're burnt sienna. Yeah. Oh, I love burnt sienna. It's one of my favorite colors. No, but that's more of a brown, isn't it? That's like what I do for brown hair. Or maybe it's like maybe for shading. I definitely see that for shading mayhaps. But for me, if I'm going blonde, if I'm watercolor painting someone blonde, I'm going, yeah, probably like a, I can imagine like a burnt sienna if you get more of a reddish tone. But I'm going in Naples yellow and I'm going in yellow ochre. Winsor & Newton Pro, that's what I use as well. I've also got Winsor & Newton Artists Quality. That's the one I have. But I guess I can definitely see burnt sienna for shading. I'll give you that for sure. Do you have ochre? Oh, yellow ochre is like a staple for me. I paint a lot of landscapes and yellow ochre is one of the most used colours I have. But Naples yellow is also a very much a good one. I don't go for the yellow colours very often if I'm doing hair colours. I go for like the different shades of brown. But yeah. We have had so many tangents today on so many different subjects. My gosh. This makes me happy that I didn't tidy away my watercolours right now so that I could reach for them. Kindred spirits, eh? Indeed, we love art here. But you can kind of see, like, for instance, Martin has a lot more yellowish hair, and Jimmy, who is also considered like a blonde, has very like sandy hair, right? Thanks for the follow, Keeper. I appreciate it. And so you can kind of see, like, there's so many different, and I can kind of show you in my color palettes as well. There's so many different like shades of blonde. Like Derek has a very like light blonde, but Sammy's more of a, you know, kind of ashen blonde. Let me see. Let's get onto a new drawing here, actually. This is probably better. Oh no, wait! I'm showing spoilers. I shouldn't show spoilers. The unearned smug confidence of Jimmy in this photo is incredible, by the way. Thank you. So. Boop. And it also depends on like your skin color, right? So very often, I've probably made the whole background Derek's skin color. So for instance, you have like, this is currently Derek's color palette, who you haven't seen yet. But if you've got like really pale skin, then you can get away with like a really pale yellowish hair color, right? But for instance, Sammy has very tan skin, but he's still blonde. So we kind of need to go from like a dark to like different levels of blonde, right? Actually, you know what? I've just realized I'm introducing all our blonde boys at the end. All the blonde guys. Adamir used to be blonde, actually. But then we were like, why are all the guys blonde and all the girls brown haired? This is silly. And so we made Adamir's hair brown. But yeah, you even see it like here in Jimmy's skin color versus Jimmy's hair. Like Jimmy's considered blonde, but that's quite a dirty blonde, right? Versus Martin's skin color, which is a little bit lighter. And Martin's hair. And if I were to put like Martin's, I guess that could work, but it looks a little bit weird. And, you know, Green is also kind of considered someone with kind of blondish hair. But depending on the context, that looks brown, right? Who else has blonde hair? Anybody else with blonde hair? I mean, Tango has fire hair. I don't think it really counts. Dude's got a really wacky color palette in general. But you know. How do I make my skin tones with watercolors? Oh, all sorts. So I've got basically my base watercolor set is the Winsor & Newton Students. Is it the 24 color? I think it's the 24 color set, the Winsor & Newton Students. And the browns that I have are raw umber, burnt umber, Indian red, and yellow ochre. And I have Chinese white. So a mix of those colors, honestly. If I want more of a like, it depends on what undertone you want. Because if you want more of a reddish undertone, I start with an Indian red and mix it with Chinese white, yellow ochre, or even like a burnt sienna would work with that as well. And if you want more of like a kind of olivey, kind of like an olivey skin tone base, and Genoa has quite an olive skin tone. You can start with raw umber and then, you know, mix from there. And I haven't done a lot of, I've only just recently gotten Naples yellow. So I haven't done a lot of skin tone mixing with Naples yellow, but I can imagine that would be quite a good one as well. Alizarin burnt sienna to get Naples yellow, but you're not using it as much as you'd like. I was gifted it by my roommate. She had 2 Naples yellows for some reason, so I was gifted a Naples yellow. And oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I don't know what alizarin looks like, I'm going to be honest. I really like raw umber. Yeah, raw umber, it's quite a desaturated brown that goes more into the green tones. I think I like it for that reason. I'd actually be quite intrigued to see... Oh, very simple hot pink. Oh, interesting. Okay, I see that. I have Potter's pink. That's kind of like the only pink that I have. What? Wait, what? Oh, I have alizarin crimson, actually. I've just realised. I do have that. Oh, no, I don't think I've ever used that for shading skin tones, to be fair. I just go through the browns. I just literally go through the browns when it comes to shading, watercolour shading. No one knows what this conversation about. Give it a try sometime. I think I will, you know. I like that idea. I think I could give like a really nice blush. Right, all these different skin colours. Let's go back to colouring Zoragg. She looks really tall. Zoragg isn't actually like very tall, to be fair. I've just realised. Maybe her neck is too long. She's not like the tallest character. Oh no. I mean, she's standing incredibly proudly. She always stands proud. Wow, this is weird. This feels very weird. I need to get rid of this. Okay. That makes it better, I think. Are these all D&D fellas or something else? These are original characters, so not necessarily D&D fellas, but characters that we are writing a story about, so I guess something kind of similar. Yeah, I like that more. And because I'm currently going like through a redesign of these characters, because the last time I drew Zoragg was this drawing here. I was feeling some feelings and I had to let it out in Zoragg for some reason. That was 2023. That was 3 years ago. I want to say 2.5 because I know it was end of 2023, but like still, how dare I neglect these characters for so long? And I'm so inspired to do more with them now. So it's like really, you know, at some point, if we're going to do more with them, we need to, you know, we need to redesign them into my current style. So we're doing all the main characters. And actually, we've also done a side character. This is Ali, one of our side characters. But, yeah, we've got Chenoa so far. We've got Rain. We've got Adamir. We've got Kira. And right now, we're working on Chenoa. And, we're working on Zoragg. I keep mixing those two up and I'm an idiot. We keep, yeah. And now, right now, we're working on Zoragg. And so she has such, like, her skin's far too pale for her right now, it feels like. But then again, I haven't done the shading of the skin yet. So maybe it'll feel different in a second. But, to do more with these characters, we gotta figure out their current design. I have a plan for an animatic for these guys. But first we gotta draw them all. We gotta figure out what the characters look like.
Kira kawaii? Yeah. You like the idea of refreshing them, take them in a fun new direction?
I mean, we basically, even if I haven't been drawing these guys over the past few years, we have been talking about the story and the characters. So the story has expanded and changed and been taken in new directions, but I just haven't really done like much on the visual side of it, right? So it's kind of something along those lines. What? Hello? What was this red that I used just now? Why don't I find that red? I just found it like random. So like I'm not like changing like their whole backstory and stuff in these drawings. I'm just basically giving them like a new design that fits their characters, that fits who they are. Bum, bum. Right, so let's get some golden rings, etc. onto Zoragg in her hair. Gold, silver, bronze. I like the idea of the gold ones being most prevalent. Copper color, maybe? Kind of more coppery? Yeah, it's kind of coppery. It's a bit of a dull copper. Pardon me. And that's going more towards orange. How does copper look? I guess I can kind of see that as copper. And then we go silver. Like gold, silver, bronze, I guess. Something about that irritates me right now. I don't know. I don't think I like the way that looks right now. I think it looked good in sketch. But right now it looks like she's just got some random beads in her hair. I think because it was thought of after the fact and not part of her hair design. I still like the idea though. I want to continue with the idea, but I don't like how I've executed it right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to it, and I'm going to let it sit for now, and then I'm going to come back to it. Give myself a note. Hello? Beads in hair, question mark. Slash rings. Boop. Let's write her name down while we're at it. Zoragg. Let's shade her, and then I think I'm not hugely happy with her skin color. Flippin' heck. She was a lot darker in this. Skin color was a lot darker here, but then again, it was at night. What do I think if I do this? No. Maybe I just need to shade her. And maybe the skin color looks a lot lighter than I had it in my brain because of the background color that we've chosen. That is also a possibility. Do 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 do. I think I do. You know, I think it's fine. I think it's a fine skin color with the shading and stuff. Certainly needs like extra depth. Did I do any shading to the rest of the gang? Did they have shading? No? Kind of, but like Rain's hair is weird anyway. No? I know. Okay, yay, only skin shading, it's fine. We only gotta shade the skin. Let's give our girl some cheekbones. She deserves it. Just a slight allusion to them. I've also been figuring out kind of like wanting to do more like skin shading before I go to the main shading, if that makes sense. Oopsie. I'm kind of doing some more skin rendering before I shade the rest of them, which I kind of like. You know, a whole like character design vibe that not right now, but I could imagine further down the line for Zoragg. It's just some strands of like grey hair. Because of certain things that she maybe goes through. I could see that with Zoragg. It's a vibe that I could imagine. I'm going to go a little bit darker in some of these other areas. Oh, it's far too colourful. Still too colourful. Who likes colour? Not me. And then we add highlighted places. So yeah, this is also like a part of like the journey that I'm taking with my art recently. It's kind of like rendering skin a bit more precise. Because I think you can make skin like so much more alive just by spending another like 5 minutes on it. Bye Lavender, have a wonderful rest of your day, my dude. See you around. And that's the whole thing with Zoragg's eyes as well that I want to maybe just quickly figure out. Because we maybe need to do a little bit of... Does anybody know what's coming? Anybody know what's coming? Remember I said she has glowing eyes? We maybe need to do a bit of bloom. Let's like add a bit of highlight. And then what happens if we do bloom? Yeah, let's go. Okay, let's leave it there. And then make this an add layer. Put it on top. No, that's too much. Imagine that looking in your... Oh my gosh. Imagine that looking at you in the dark. Yep. This is what her eyes look like in the dark. But like in normal light, I think we kind of need to maybe not overdo it too much. But what I will do is I'm going to do a bit of this. Smudge it a bit so you can kind of like see the bloom around. Boop. There we go. Looks gorgeous. Thank you. Bloom. I'm still not hugely happy with her skin color. I feel like I need to tweak something there. It feels like a bit pale and washed out. So we go a bit more saturated. Let's make her red. Maybe it's because the background is so saturated. Because I like the idea of having a bit more of like a sandy skin tone. Certainly kind of like more yellowy tanned. Gosh, she looks incredibly weird on my other monitor. See you around, Henry. Thanks for hanging out. I think it's because the background is so saturated that she looks washed out. So maybe let's make the background less saturated. Now she's just smudging in with the background. She's just got the same colors as the background. But if we flip the background, maybe that's less the case. Maybe make the background around Zoragg lighter. She's supposed to like kind of embody the fire that burns within her. Not saying she has fire powers, but she literally has a flame. Maybe make background grey? Could make background grey. Wait, what am I trying to do? Oh. I know exactly. Give me a sec, guys. Boop. And that's what I'm trying to do. Saturation. Yeah, you know what? I kind of like that. I feel like she has too much of a forehead. I think I need to kind of like make it, pull her hair down just a little bit. It's just the tiny tweakage that we do now. That's what happens. And now that's far too straight of a hairline, so let's just add some bits here. Kind of go down. I'm adding line art in the same colour that her hair is. Dang it. It's fine. Yeah, I like that more. Yeah, I think this needs to be less saturated. Maybe less opaque. She's just smudging with back. Maybe this was a bad choice of background color. Maybe I'm gonna make the background green. Let's make the background green. Green. Kind of a yellowish green. Which kind of gives, like, you know, the jungle vibes of a panther. I'm going to make a new background. This is stressing me out. New background. I chose the wrong colors that do not do this character justice. That's far too saturated. Oh my gosh. That's not too bad. Green is not a color I associate at all with Zoragg, but it kind of makes sense with like how I kind of like having panther vibes. I think someone had to have a green background. Do you know what's got a green top? Someone had to have a green background. I totally could have given Sam a green background because that fits his character vibe very well. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're very like blue or yellow coded characters, to be fair. Okay. Oh, Fungabird. Yeah, not Fungabird. Yeah. iPad screen go whack. Okay. I like. Add some highlights to the eyes. Makes characters look more alive immediately. I also did not shade her lips. I'm going to give her a very slight shade on her lips. Because she doesn't really have as full of lips. Give them too much forehead. She's not very good at smiling, bless her. Not at the start of the story, anyway. She gives off, like, big-time Yasha vibes from the Mighty Nine. Lips irritate me, man. I don't quite understand them. Like, I know intuitively they should be a different color than the rest of us, because I know that my lips are a different color than the rest of my face. But like, every time I draw lips like a different color than the face, it looks like people have mad lipstick on. It's Zoragg. I think the idea of beads in her hair could definitely be better executed. I'll bring the idea up to Simon as well, because I'm not sure if
think it depends on her culture. And we haven't really talked about the high spirits and the way Halvor's domain has, like the culture that Halvor's domain has, the way society is built up there. But yeah, we done Zoragg. I'm actually really happy. I think this is really cool. Yeah, she hasn't really changed much. Maybe I'll have another fiddle with her forehead as well. Because there's something that still irritates me, like about the shape of the top half of her head. Kind of like hair shape and stuff like that. Because I think I like the way I did her in the sketchbook. Like the way I did her hair and her head shape there. I think I like that more still. But yeah, gosh, it took longer than expected. I don't think I've got the power in me to do any more twin life sketching, guys. I've got to be honest. I think that's gonna have to be another stream. I think we're gonna have to do that another time where we'll have more sessions to sketch. But that is, yeah, you can kind of see the struggle that I was going through. Well, I don't hate that shape. But that's why it's good to draw with white pencil. If you think you like something in white pencil, you can kind of like see the faults in it. Or sometimes you can't see the faults in it anymore. And then you can kind of like, when you turn it to another color or turn it to black, or trying to kind of like mirror it, or like, you know, change your perspective in any way, shape or form on these things, you know, color it, that kind of thing. It kind of changes your perspective on these on the way it looks, and you can kind of find faults easier. But yeah. Girl definitely has. Yeah, I'm very intrigued by my new kind of like way of drawing faces. It's certainly looking a bit different. Like very, very slight for people who don't know my style, but obviously I know my style pretty well. And there's like a subtle change I am noticing in how I draw, in like the process, right? In how I draw people. So, yeah. Guys, we had so many tangents this stream. I still have a Martin up on my screen. And I still have tabs open of Kuvira and tardigrades and phylogenetic trees. Apparently. Cool stream. I think I'm going to leave sketching twin life stuff to another thing. You draw it in black pencil yourself? That's what, no, I really like drawing in white because the whole concept, I draw it in white on a grey background because the whole concept of black on white feels so permanent. And I almost paralyze myself and think far too much about the lines, right? So if I draw white on a grey background, it's not like there's a stark contrast, and white isn't a colour that you normally draw with, so it kind of tricks my brain to be a lot looser. Which is why I always draw in white, turn it to black, and then I can kind of see the faults of my drawings. I've just knocked over all my books, oh my gosh. Ah no, I've just kicked them. I just kicked my books, now they're falling on the floor. I'm sorry, I'm trying to write them again with my foot. It's gonna work. Basically, I've got a bookshelf on the other side of my desk that if I stretch out my legs, I can accidentally kick over my books. No! Why are you so broken? Stay! Yeah, that's why I do that. Usually have a tan or grey background. I've never seen the tan background as like a strategy, because this is like a well-versed strategy. Some people also draw with red. And they're like even blue colored pencils, or like blue pencils that like, or blue graphite is what I'm looking for. So it's like a normal pencil. It erases like a normal pencil, but yeah, you don't feel as scared to do stuff. But a tan background, I kind of like. I see the appeal of that. I see the appeal again, just tricking your brain into making you not think about the things too much. Hi and bye, Floral. And then you turn it grey and do line art on a separate layer above it. Ah, I see. Now, I'm too lazy. I'm too lazy to do line art. My sketch is my line art. Ain't nobody got time for doing an extra line art layer, man. Nah. My sketch just gets cleaned up a little bit, and that's my line art. I used to do sketch and then line art, and then nah. I had no joy in the line art process. I had no joy in making things look clean. And while doing the line art and making things look clean, I always felt like my characters lost energy. I always liked the sketch a lot more, which is why I just clean up my sketches a bit, and those are my line arts. You never see me do a sketch layer and then a separate line art layer. At most, you see me doing like the face, like the shape of the face, right? Like the circle and the cross over the circle to figure out where the jaw and where the eyes are. That's all you get in the sketch from me. Anyway, I'm going to plonk you guys over on this screen because we're going to hit finish for today. I'm going to say goodbye. Thursday. You guys know what Thursday's coming. Thursday is the next stream, and Thursday is session 2 of Everlife. And I have a little bit of something to share. I don't know if I have permission. Do I have permission from Cucumber? No, be me. Do I have permission from Cucumber to share this? I don't know. Am I allowed? Oh my gosh, my button's just fallen off. I thought there was something weird about that button. I don't know if I'm allowed to share this, but like, what if I can? What if I am allowed to share this? Because Cucumber and I have been working on a little something. Let me just open up Blockbench. Exploring shapes first, circles and squares. Then actually make it look good with the block. Oh, hello. Oh, that's something cute. You could do so much with Blockbench, man. I can't even. I need to learn more about Blockbench. It feels like Blender, but easier. Recent. Okay. Are you guys ready? I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show you this, okay? So don't show it to other people. But we've been working on a little something to add to our green skins. Little something to add to our skins. Just a little something to add to our skins to kind of make it more of a sailor vibe. Because we're the boat people. We're the lake people. We're the wholesome lake people. We live on a boat, so we kind of need to be more sailors. And because my character's already very sailor coded, we were trying to figure out... what kind of things we could make to make the character more sailory. Yeah. So yeah, hang out for come back for Twin Life on Thursday. Everybody pray for Beamy in general for Twin Life on Thursday. Everybody have them in your thoughts and prayers. And guys are scared. I'm scared of Beamy in general. I'm scared of the two of you. Beamy, I never gave you that firefly bush to kind of make an alliance. You swear you're good at the game? Dude won Everlife. The guy won Everlife, and now maybe it's just a new curse. Maybe it's our very own life series curse of the winner's curse. Like the winner has terrible luck in the next game. I could see that being a cool thing. I mean, it's less cool if you go out of session 2, but like, cool for the storytelling. So like, please don't go out of session 2, my friend. That would be really sad. Anyway, see you guys on Thursday. Oh, hello, I'm on the wrong screen. I'm gonna see you guys on Thursday for some more Twin Life with my twin, Cucumber. Pray that we don't die. Pray that Beamy doesn't die in general. And yeah, I'm excited for my live series stuff. And then after that is the next Draw the Song. So like, we got a whole next week planned on streams. We know what's happening. I'm excited for... I hyper-focusated, wow. Yep, I hyper-focusated, that's now a word that exists, it's fine, on one, like like 3 lines of lyrics in the song Ghost by Jeremy Messersmith. So that's what my drawing is about, and I'm kind of making it more of an atmospheric piece. So, and I know a lot more about it than you guys because it's original character stuff, and it hits so much harder for me than it will for you guys. But still, it's gonna look pretty. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope you had a good time. Thank you for letting me ramble about Zoragg and mer people and phylogenetic trees. And it's been a very rambly stream, very, I hope educational, I guess. And it's been cool to talk about our original characters with you guys. I always really enjoy it. And I always think it is a privilege that I get to do this and to chat about original characters with you guys, because there's certainly like a different relationship to the media that you're consuming. If like you know who the Life series people are, if I'm doing fan art to the Life series people, you even know like who the Twin Life people are when I'm doing like doodles to that. But you don't really know that much about these characters yet. We plan to share more. But I always find it so much fun kind of sharing more about this world that has existed primarily in my mind and in conversations with Simon and Alina over the past few years. And it's so cool to kind of share more about that with you guys. Yeah, anyway, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you had a good time. I certainly did. I will see you guys on Thursday for Twin Life. Other than that, there's nothing left for me to do but to send you guys off into the void that is the internet. Bye-bye, everybody.